Mm. I didn't hear nothing about that, so that's news to me. Ah, doing all right. Getting a
All
little
right.
nippy out here. Yeah, in Pennsylvania, nice and cold in the morning. It
Nice
got
and
as low
cold,
as
yeah.
like 38 or 28, something like that.
How's
Then
it
in the
down?
afternoon,
How's it
got
with
warmer.
that? How is it over there in the south? Real?
61.
That's good.
That's no wonder he's laughing.
Yeah, that's really good. I mean,
Nice.
hey, that's welcome for me. Y'all already know how I am, man. I don't really
Word.
like it hot.
Hey man,
No,
I don't
I
knock
don't
it,
either.
bro.
But
After the
shout
summer
out
you've
to the
been through,
Texas Rangers, man.
Man, don't even name them
Hey,
at all.
first pennant World Series championship in franchise
Nah,
history.
nah.
man,
I
I
give
was
no
rooting for
props
Arizona. I'm not
whatsoever.
gonna lie.
No,
I
no.
was,
Man,
Bro, that's why I wanted the Astros to win so bad because I knew whoever won was gonna beat the Diamondbacks. I didn't think that either would beat the Phillies. Phillies just laid an egg.
they did.
yeah,
They did.
yeah.
Because there were
The
I didn't
Diamondbacks
think
did
I didn't
too.
think either one of them would beat the Phillies. It's like sometimes these guys, these teams, these individuals, even in like individual sports, especially boxing, they'll play down to the competition.
Yeah.
And the Diamondbacks had no business beating the Phillies as hot as they were, but they pulled it off.
Yeah. I mean, if the Astros made it to the World Series, this would have been a simple layup to get the third ring against Arizona because there's like, I don't think they were a competitive team at all whatsoever.
I was
No,
rooting
because
for Arizona.
they had no business being there.
No.
It's
No,
kind of
they
like,
really didn't.
okay, because like I'm a Red Sox fan, so like
Yeah.
it's kind of like that year when Red Sox won after 90 whatever years,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and Colorado had won 23 straight, going back into the regular season. But the Red Sox, I believe that was the year that came back from being down 0-3,
0-3,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
And so, but everybody knew the Colorado Rockies were just overachieving that whole postseason. They just got hot, but they were not as good as their streak,
Yeah.
and they just got railroaded by the Red Sox.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the Twins. Like they had no business being there. I thought that whoever played the Phillies was going to lose, but it's like once the Astros lost, the Phillies lost their whole meaning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They wanted
Yeah.
to get back,
And
but like they had no business losing to the Twins.
yeah.
they lost their purpose. Basically.
You know, we spoke about this last week, you know, when the Rangers went to the World Series and Nationals lost, that it stings more because it's the Rangers and it's all the shit talking that happens between the two cities, right? On top of that, it doesn't help that I live here in the Dallas area. So I get to see everything. I get to hear everything, right? And it's nonstop for my coworkers, right? It's nonstop when I go to Walmart or any other store and they got Rangers gear.
And they're
all
selling
over.
World Series T-shirts
Yes. And so,
in ball caps.
so it doesn't matter what I do, I'm going to hear it at some capacity, right? Whether I'm here at home, in the streets, shopping around, I'm going to see some reminder that the Ranger, that team is
Look, you can't even say the name.
I won't
without
even
it
say the
just-
name. I won't even recognize it. That team that plays in Arlington, right? Or they finally got a title, right? And to beat the Astros is what stings more. That's what I'm telling you. I wouldn't even care if the Twins beat Astros or Baltimore or anybody else that was in the playoffs. It just had to be that team in Arlington, right? And sure enough, you know, and the first thing that Arlington team fans do, the first thing they do when they win is
They
go out.
troll you.
They go out to the X-verse, right? And they have Astros on their mind. That's the first thing they
Yeah,
do.
but like that. That's like this is like one of the, if not the deadest. For Texas to be as big as it is, I've not seen anything on Twitter. You're
Ooh,
looking for it,
dude,
right?
and
Like,
last night I was talking to a buddy of mine who is a Rangers fan and more a realistic Rangers fan, right? So I kind of respect him, right? I do, because he's a good guy, right? I told him yesterday, right before the game, or a few hours before the game, say, this series is the least watched. I don't have the numbers on me because I'm not that guy with the numbers, but I'm telling you right now, I can just tell that Arizona, Texas, that doesn't draw people.
No,
it doesn't draw the people.
Mm-mm.
Nothing. And something came out
because like even the Astros, the first one didn't.
So,
No.
and
But by the time they won a second one, the world hated them and everybody wanted to see them lose.
yes,
yeah.
and then now, earlier today, sure enough, there was a post that said, "This is the fourth least watched World Series ever."
Wow.
Nobody was interested,
Yeah.
except
Bro,
in
because the
respective-
night that they won, like I'm in a bunch of sports groups,
Yeah.
and the night they won, I went to Twitter for a little bit, and I saw one post, and no likes were on the post.
Yes.
It said, congratulations to the Texas Rangers first World Series in franchise history. There was no likes. I almost wanted to like it just because.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then of course every now and then you see the ones that hate the Astros.
Yeah.
F the Astros.
That's the first thing. Like somebody said, rent free, man. You cannot
Okay.
get the Astros off their mind.
guys
Doc
hear
is
me?
like, oh, too early talking sports. Yes.
What were you saying, Sick?
Oh, I've been talking for a while. I thought my mic was acting up. What I was trying to say was, I didn't even realize like the first game had happened when they said that they won the World Series. I'm like, the series started already? When the hell did they win?
It was a railroading. It was
And it was already
4-1.
over.
Yeah, it was 4-1.
It was 4-1, bro. It
Damn.
was a railroading, bro. Like
Wow.
whoever won was gonna beat the Twins.
Yeah.
Convincingly, because they didn't belong. I hate saying that because everybody's like, well, they got there. But yeah, I mean, we know that. Okay, when I say they didn't belong, they weren't good enough. Like the Phillies should be ashamed of themselves. They should hang their heads in shame. That's what I mean.
Well, listen.
Because that series had no business going 7.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the way you guys were talking about it last week, I expected it to be a rout. Damn, right? But
It should have been a rout.
and
on
it
paper.
almost was. Yeah, right. But
I'm talking about the Phillies and Twins.
well, I'm just talking about the finals with the Rangers. But the thing was, for me, like, I was rooting Arizona because I went there on vacation. I was watching when they, and I'm just like, hey, I don't really care one way or another, right? Like, I didn't want the Rangers to win either, right?
Yeah.
Right, because you don't want the Rangers to win, right? And the last one's already done. I'm like, all right, fine. So let them win. I was in their state. They treated me right. They fed me right. And they gave me lots of green drinks. I was good. So I was hoping for them to win.
Oh,
And they got
he's probably like
they got
ecstatic
mollywopped.
and has all his gear all over him. And I'm surprised I haven't seen him post was Kima.
Yeah, bootleg. No, and then a bootleg new legal fair weather fan. He got 2 basketball teams that he roots for. A bootleg fan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I tease him all the time too. We're actually going to a
Right,
Rockets Mavs
well, I
game.
mean, what is
This
it?
one-
Tennessee does not have a team, so I guess.
We're actually going to a Rockets Mavs game later in November. So that'll be fun.
Man, Rockets. I like the moves that they made, but they're still not ready.
They have a long.
They don't
way to
play
go.
basketball yet.
They have a long way to go.
Like, what's his name? Porter, and then the little Filipino Negro.
Oh, Jelly
Like
Green?
they don't. Yeah, they don't play real basketball yet. Like you can see the raw talent, but like they don't play real basketball. It's just like street ball, and that's why they brought in Van Vliet, a champion, to come help.
develop them.
Who's the coach?
I don't even know, man. They've switched
It's
so many
the same coach. The same coach who was cheating on Neil Long, right?
Really?
He's a goofball, bro. Like, I mean, if I'm gonna cheat on Neil Long, Ime Udoka,
Neil Long.
if I'm a coach, I'm not. If I got Neil Long at home, I'm not gonna get caught. How's that?
Yeah. Neil Long.
Nobody's gonna know.
Neil Long,
She was married too, though.
Yeah, but later in November, after Thanksgiving, is when we go into watch the Mavericks and the Rockets play. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure Digo will be up there with this Warriors jersey on for no reason.
Bootleg. And then he pulls for the Mavericks too. How you can be pulled 3 ways?
Yeah, well, you know, people have talked about it, man. When it comes to sports now, especially basketball, maybe football, it's about the player. It's not even about the team. You know? So if a player like LeBron James, he's bounced around many teams. And you're like, oh, I'm a Lakers fan now. It's like, are you really? You know? He's a Heat. He's a Heat. Oh, I'm a
Spurs fan.
It's like,
yeah, Ime Udoka is the coach of the Rockets. That's the one. He was the coach of the Celtics, and he was messing with that Mormon woman. She was married.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Nia Long and what she looks like these days.
I know what she looks like. Come on now. Who are you talking to?
I mean, I know you know who she is, and that's why I said and what she looks like these days.
I don't know about these days, but back in her day.
She bad.
Okay.
Yeah, back in her prime.
Yeah, she was bad when she was back.
I think she's in her prime right now.
Even Megan good too.
Prime, but she's still pretty good.
And Megan good.
Yeah, great. Look, I don't like little women. I like him in between. I like the new milk duds she's got. I like all that.
The milk does bring the boys to the yard.
Bring this one to the yard.
Bring this one to the yard.
But yeah, I've been a Spurs fan all the way through. Like, they've been trash since Duncan, and then first it was Parker, then Duncan, then Manu. They've been bad.
Oh, I had some joker in one of my teams meeting today at work. Gets on the call. He said, "Man, congratulations! Yeah, you know that team from Arlington." I was like, "Dog, that's not my team. That's not my team. Even my avatar for my team's thing has Astros gear on it, right? Nowhere it says that it's Ranger welcoming. I'm not a Rangers fan. I don't give a shit about that team, right? But it's Texas. It's Texas. It's like I'm not Texas white guy.
They didn't have the attitude in the Astros one.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. It's like I'm not, hey, let's support our Texas teams. I'm not that guy. I grew up in Houston. That's my world. It's Houston sports. You know, basketball, football, baseball, soccer, even though I don't even follow the Dynamo, right? I'll go to a game. I don't care. That's my team, right? At U of H, I don't follow college ball. But if U of H is good, I'll go. You know, I'll go watch a game or keep up with it. Why? Because at first I went to that school. I didn't graduate, but I went. Right? That's my team. And look, man, that's my U of H cap, man. Look at that. Woo!
Nice.
I like the coach of U of H, and I don't mind seeing him do well. But like, I grew up in North Carolina, born in Houston, so like UNC Tar Heels. I'm not a glutton for punishment. Florida State. And so when I came back to Texas, Oklahoma was killing Texas every year. That was when Bob Stoops was at his prime. That's when I started pulling for Texas in football instead of Florida State. But I don't mind seeing Florida State win, just like I don't mind seeing Houston be good right now. I just hope that they could get one before guys just start moving on and going back to Duke and stuff. The big old white boy already chose Duke, man. Coach K ain't even there. What's his name? Cooper Flagg. Man, that youngster can ball, man. They've been trying to find the next Larry Bird.
Like, I couldn't tell you anything about Cougar football at all, or any college.
Cougar football. They Big 12 football is trash.
Yeah. See,
CUSA is trash. Like football, no.
Yeah.
Like those guys will never win. Like they can be undefeated, get into the Final Four, and get smoked.
I've been to one bowl game that featured U of H. One a few years ago, right? And they got blown out.
Back when they had Ken Sumner?
I don't know. I don't know if it was Tom Herman or Kim Sumner. But it was my wife was able to get tickets from her job because her job sponsors it, right? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. U of H, man, what's up? So me and my son went, got my cap. I'm all sported out in Houston, like Houston Cougs gear. Man, I left by like the third quarter because like first I wanted to make it worth it that I was there because it's not close. And then second, because like, you know, I want to watch, you know, a bowl game. That was my first bowl game ever. It was such a huge disappointment. But the way to arrange, playoffs and the conferences and all that crap with college, I cannot keep up with that crap. I refuse to keep up because it's just a mess every time I hear it on the radio.
Not that bad, bro.
And it's like, well,
not that bad.
This college should be in the playoffs because look at their history, but they may suck that year. I'm like, why should they be in the playoffs if they suck? Oh,
look, man, if my team is average, I could care less if they get in or not.
Yeah.
And then because they're not gonna win. Like you already know the top of the blue bloods is gonna get in. Like whoever wins ACC, Pac-12, whoever wins those conferences is gonna get in. Whoever wins the Big Ten or whatever they're calling it now, the Pac-10, ACC, whoever wins those is gonna be a top 4 seed.
Yeah.
So it's like if you just want your team to get in just to get dusted, like come on, man.
Yeah.
Just so you can root for one more game.
Yeah.
I'm not on the edge of my seat for that, man. Like, no.
So yeah,
No. And I don't understand why people love college sports so much because so much of these bowl games and March Madness don't even matter.
Dude, I remember growing up as a teenager, and I've heard about the bowls and all that, but there was only like 4 maybe back then. You got the Rose Bowl, you got the Cotton Bowl, and then I think there was 2 other ones that were famous, right? And then all of a sudden you got these.
You're talking about the majors.
The major ones, right? Like those were the popular ones. The one I was
they
aware.
They always had those 50 million bowl games.
It's like it's watered down. It's like, why do you have like 60 bowl games? Now it means it's meaningless now.
Well, so they can make money.
Well,
they can make money.
But it's meaninless.
Those,
like, well, if you don't make
those games are going to make money.
If you don't make it to the top tier bowl games, hey, we got the Doritos. It's like, okay, thanks.
You got the Doritos, you got the Tostitos, you got the Jack in the Box.
I don't understand. That's why I don't keep up.
You got the Greater Value Bowl.
Yes, that's why I do not keep up.
Explained it all. You just explained it all. Money.
I have no desire to keep up with college ball. If I see Houston doing well, I'll watch it. But to know who the player is, how well they play, the history and all that, it's like, nah, I'm not gonna do all that. Squash that.
Oh no! I'll watch it. I'll watch it. It's just that like once Texas is still in the mix, but they haven't been dominant in any way. So like if they lose again, they're out of the mix. Because Oklahoma they lost to Kansas. Texas shouldn't have lost to to Kansas, but they did. To Oklahoma, but they did.
I think it was last week, maybe 2 weeks ago. U of H was on TV.
Red River Shootout
at 4 o'clock. Like it was a 4 o'clock. It's like, oh man, all right, I'll watch this game right here. It's on regular TV. It's not behind a paywall. I'll watch it. They were getting blown out in the first quarter. Man, I'm done. This is awful.
Why they put it on. They put it on free TV. They knew that was gonna happen.
Yeah, man. It's like the one day I want to just sit back, relax, and watch the game, and like it turns out to be a crap. I'm like, nah, I'm not watching this.
And you know what's crazy? Something I never understood about Houston or even UT. Like they have so much homegrown talent. This is probably number 2, right?
Yeah.
It's either number 1, 2, or 3. They flip flop between Florida, Cali, Texas, and Ohio. But like, I don't understand why they can't get any homegrown talent to really get out there and be a factor.
No.
Here in Houston, that's a big school. I mean, and they keep expanding it every other year.
Yeah, Houston's
like,
yeah.
And Houston is a nice place. So
Houston
but they'd rather go to Oregon. But you know what? If I was a kid, I'd probably go to Oregon too, man.
Yeah.
They get a new uniform every game. And free Nikes.
Oh. And now they get paid.
Because Phil Knight is a big old what do you call it? Donor. So
I'll bring donuts.
The owner of Nike.
That's as much as I can do.
That's how the money gets in.
Bring me into
they got a Dunkin' Donut. They got a Dunkin' Donut bowl too.
Oh man! Nah. All right, we're done. We're done with sports, man. Anyways, for the team in Arlington, fuck you. All right.
Ooh,
yeah.
You a hater.
I am a hater. I am a hater. But let's talk happy things about Xbox because there's some items that are on sale, man. The Elite controller right now at Walmart is $122 compared to the $179 that you'll pay at the store. So if you're looking for an Elite controller, number 2, dude, go to Walmart. It's off $60 off.
That's a lot of money.
That's a good deal.
I mean, that's a good deal. It's the same price as the core.
As the core, yes. It's the same price as the core.
Wow.
Yes.
But I'm not buying any more controllers until I find out if those leaks are true.
And what leak is that? Because I missed it.
the leaks where they're gonna have haptic feedback. I already know that they have a patent for locking triggers, but I did not see that in the leak. Remember the leak where they showed the cylindrical Xbox and
Mhm.
all
Yeah.
that, and then they showed some of the specs for the new controller.
Mhm.
So yeah, once I find out if those leaks are true or not, I'm not buying any more Xbox controllers. Just they had like that lunar gold or whatever. Almost
I
did.
don't buy those colored ones.
It was in a box.
I've been in the market for a core one. Hello?
Can you guys hear me?
I can
'Cause
hear
my
you.
mic has been acting
name.
weird for a bit. Like every time I try to say something, all of a sudden somebody else gets louder, and it's
Yeah.
either between the both of you, and I could tell like you guys must not be hearing me, or it sounds like that. But anyway, actually, what I was gonna say was the first thing was what Rilla said about the controller. Like that's basically the price of the base controller, right?
It is. Yeah.
That in savings, like
Now,
wow.
granted, you'll find a core every now and then down to $99, $89, but that's not right now. You're better off getting the Elite, the full package at $122 than
It's better to get an Elite, bro, because those paddles are kind of hard to get. Like the OG, the real paddles,
the big ones.
the ones that come with the Elite.
Well,
Like,
the ones that come in Elites now are smaller
well,
than the
I
first
don't want
one.
to spend. I don't want to pay $50 for them.
No, no, you
Like
can always
that-
buy
that-
other ones. You can always buy.
I'm
other
not.
ones that cheap.
How much are? Because when I looked it up, right? Because they try to when you get the Design Lab core, right?
Yeah.
They try to do all the add-ons because the core doesn't come with a case. It doesn't come. It doesn't come with paddles. I don't think it even comes with the sticks.
It's just a control. Well, it has to come with the sticks. That's it.
No, the change
It doesn't come with the extra
the
stick.
longer ones, which you don't even care about.
Yeah, I don't care about the long ones. Oh,
But like,
pause.
and then I think it comes with the little screw tool. Yeah, the pause. Yeah, I think it comes with a screw tool though, so you can tighten down the controllers, but the sticks. But it'd be a good deal. I just wish that they had Design Lab for the Elite
Yeah.
and not just the core.
No, I've been in the market for another Elite controller, but just the core. One, because I want another one. Second, because I got a $50 worth of points at GameStop, and I want to use that towards the
And
controller.
they expire.
Nah, man, I've had mine for like years of just racking it up.
They expire.
They expire for sure.
Mine.
You better ask
No,
some
not if you
questions when
bank
you go in
it.
there.
If you bank it, no, they don't expire.
No, they expire.
Dude,
But what's
mine's-
happening is you're using them up because it's not all your points in aggregate will expire. But like if you earn some
Right.
points today,
They expire
then
from
they
day.
expi- right.
I don't know. Mine's always been the same. I keep looking at my account. It's always
Okay.
I've never seen it go down.
Bro, I got the $15 membership, and when I went in there, that dude told me that they'll expire.
We'll get into that because it's not $15 anymore.
Yeah, it's not either. Yeah.
Yep. We'll get into that later because there's some dirty shit that they're doing over there. But yeah, 122 at Walmart for Elite 2, man, with that full package, not just the controller, but with the whole accessory kit, the case, and everything that comes with it, which is not bad compared to the $129.99 for the core. Hey, just go get the Elite, man. If you're looking for a new one, that's a good Christmas present, right?
Works on everything basically except for PlayStation. Works on Switches. It works on your it works on PCs. It works on both, Android and iOS, all that stuff.
But then Sig brought this one up, the WD Black expansion card, $124.99 when usually it's what, like $150?
I think like 150 or so.
Like it's $25 off at
That's another nice deal.
Who's selling
And
this?
remember, I was talking about this. I think last week I was talking about this,
Yeah.
where I forget who it was, but somebody was doing some testing, and he didn't get too heavy into it. Although he did take enough time to like wipe it,
Yeah.
and try again.
Yeah.
And he was seeing like the copy times off of the newer one, off of this Western Digital, seem to be faster than the Seagate. So if anybody has like some bias against the Western Digital brand, thinking that the Seagate one is somehow superior, because it came out first or whatever. Like maybe they have some secret mojo that the other one that
Yeah.
doesn't. Quite the opposite, it would seem. If if this one cursory test, is anything to go by, that the other one seems to be faster in its writes. I think it would be
Mhm.
right, and not the reads, because the reads are what we already know is at max speed, even on the Seagate, and this one
Yeah.
can't have been any faster because we already know they've been running those drives full speed, but the write speed must be faster on these instead. But maybe if you get a newer Seagate, drive that was made more recently, right, it would perform the same. Who knows? Like I said, it wasn't really heavy testing, but these new ones from Western Digital are just as good, potentially even slightly better. So don't be biased against them just because, folks.
No, we were talking about this
But
earlier,
sick,
man.
you know my attitude about these SSDs.
What's
Fast is fast.
Exactly.
It's like we're gonna like you wouldn't know how much faster if you didn't have a readout, because these things are fast. Every now and then, like
They are fast.
if everything's clear, mine's reads 7 as high as 8 for the copy speed. So
Nice.
it's like
Nice.
it's still fast.
Still fast,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Man, shout
The
out
only
to
one where I
Wilkin.
can noticeably see a difference is
Punty
external.
and
Yeah, shout out to Wilkin.
Wilkin and
Punk.
What?
Doctor and Punty, man. Punty said he was gonna
Doctor.
do like smash some girl, but I don't think he has a girl at all.
Man, plenty ain't smashing no cheeks.
Yeah, the fact that he keeps talking about it all the time, that's how he's not. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you, Realist, because like my point overall is that I feel like some people might be having a bias against it, with certain brands, because people do that when it comes to hard drives. Like they'll hate Seagate and like Western Digital, or vice versa, this brand, that brand, just because they happen to have a bad experience, right?
Yeah.
Or even if they didn't, they just assume things based on
they do.
no facts or information. And from what I'm seeing, in fact, that this one even might be slightly better in the reads, but just like Realist says, because it's true what he said right there. Yo, it's just so fast you even really notice the difference. It's like my internet connection is 2.5 times faster than it was before, right? No, actually, no.
Damn.
It's twice as fast. I
Yeah,
have a
upgrade
2 gig
from
connection now,
dial-up?
right? No, I upgrade from 1 gig and I have 2 gigs. Ba-doom. Nice one though. I caught that all late. But yeah, but like I don't really notice the speed per se, because the stuff that is, I got it mainly because it was a new contract. It ended up costing me less. In fact, I have to upgrade my router to even really take advantage of the speed, because I have a gigabit router, not a 2 gigabit router, right? But the point being that I don't notice the speed right now because I'm limited. But even if I did, like websites aren't going to download faster. It's like games and stuff that download faster.
It's still limited by the Wi-Fi signal too.
Right. Well, I don't use Wi-Fi for everything. But yeah, that too, right? Yeah. So basically, your networking gear. But like for me at this
my
point
main
now,
box is connected to the router. That thing hits 800 download.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So, but like on my console, like of course, like the biggest things I'll download or games to my console or PC or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, but I don't sit and do that unless it's a small game where I sit and wait for it to happen, right? Really, if it's like Starfield, like even with Starfield, I downloaded that stub and it started downloading as soon as the game was available. I didn't even know until I got home, because I'd heard the news that it was up for download. When I got home, my system was already in the middle of downloading it. It was like halfway through.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have to worry about it or think about it, right? Now, if my connection was what it used to be back in the day when it was far slower, right? That was a concern. But now it's not. But like,
you're so spoiled now.
Once you get past a certain degree, you don't really notice. You don't notice it. And the only reason I even have like, a connection that's twice as fast now was because there was a better deal.
Yeah.
With the cable company, not because I wanted the better speed. Because even now I'm paying for it, even though I'm paying less. I don't notice it until I upgrade my router.
Yeah,
Spectrum. I'll do later.
Spectrum's always kind of by the house and at Walmart. Like, man, we can save you. It's like, no, you can't. You can't save me. It's like, go ahead with your spiel. Tell me how much I can save on the internet, right? They're like, yeah, we'll bring it down to $70-something, for your gig service. It's like, how much are you paying now, sir? And I was like, $90. I'm like, oh yeah, well, man, I'll save you, $20. I'm like, that sounds great and dandy, but is it locked in for life? That's my question. No. It ends after so many months, and it'll bump up, but you're still, So I'll be saving for like maybe 2 or 3 years, whatever the months.
Yeah.
And then I got to pay what I'm paying now, or pay more than what I'm paying now. So
Yeah.
I just stick to what I got. It's like, this is life. They're not going to go up. If they go down, great. If everybody's paying more than what I'm paying now, that's sorry on them. I'm locked. They're like,
Yep.
They're like, okay.
They really can't do nothing for you.
They can't. No.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I only brought that up because what Rilla said is so true. Like, don't really notice the speed like that with these things. Once they get past a certain degree of speed, it's like I was in the spaces yesterday. I don't know if you were there, Rilla. You hear about this one guy saying, he's into space games, but one of the top issues when asked what was the issue with Starfield, it's the load times. Get the really?
Dude, load times is so much faster compared to before.
Bro. Yeah, exactly. But even in Starfield, right? Yeah. That's just enough time for me to look away, grab a drink,
scratch your nuts,
a sip, put the drink down, scratch my nuts.
But you don't even have time for that. You have time to scratch your nuts.
That's the thing I was gonna say. You took the line from me once again. Yeah, like you don't even have time. By the time you're about to put the drink back, or you're even done with the gulp, you didn't even remove the drink from your lips yet. And it's already back on. Like, come on. Like, this is just ridiculous. Like what people will say, but that's how fast it all is now, right? The only thing they could say that's factually true sums up to just be a nitpick. Is it really worth saying that shit? No, it just makes you look stupid anyway to even say it.
Okay, now we're not talking about some third-party, Micro Center brand SD card here.
Nope.
Right? We're talking about Western Digital. They've been like, people have their preferences. Seagate, Western Digital, whatever else is out there. But these are, I think Western and the Seagate are like the two top dogs, right?
Yeah, they're pretty much the two top dogs in
the two top dogs, right?
There's a couple
so
others,
you can't go wrong with getting this Western Digital for a lower price than the Seagate one.
Yeah. And but this is that time of year. A lot of Black Friday sales and stuff. We will start up, a little pre Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So this is just the beginning of it, though.
But like you said, people are so conditioned thinking the first one must be the best one because they came out first.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so you want to get people's minds off of that. But even if you miss this, or if you're waiting for a sale on the 2 terabyte, right? Or even potentially the 4 terabyte, right? Just wait it out, pay attention. It is the time of year for that stuff. So
it is.
Keep your eye out.
Set this up a little bit here. We talked about this earlier today. And let's ask Relis, because he missed this part when we were speaking about the SD card and the placement of the port. Would you have preferred if the port was in the front rather than the back? Oh, that sounds kind of dirty, but you know what I mean.
Relis?
You lost him.
On nose. No, Relis, come back to us.
He's somewhere out there.
Oh, we were talking about this just before the show started, actually.
Yeah, we did.
Both of us.
So I guess we both agreed. I think the front would have been better.
Yeah, man. Like, as the generation goes on, and we're starting to see, this generation particularly, they're pushing away more and more from physical media. We heard the whole thing with Best Buy and yada yada. Even though that had nothing to do with games, it was actually just movies, I think. Right?
Yeah,
it wasn't games. And they made that clear, right? But either way, digital is here now. It's like a high 80% of people. This is what they use. And I'm not trying to knock physical media for those who want it, right? But in terms of the SSD card, I always said from day one, even before the system was even released, right? The fact that these cards are hot swappable, eventually, if they come down in cost low enough, right? I'll have an SSD card that's just all the Halo games, all the Call of Duties, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I'm hot swapping them all the time. Like, if you're younger, you take it to your friend's house where he has his Series S or X or whatever, and you just plug it in, boom, and it's hot swappable, and everything that's on that drive shows up instantly. That was one of the first things that Microsoft had showed off when they first were showing off how these external SSDs work. Like they showed the dashboard, right?
Mhm.
And they showed him plugging it in, and he was in that area on the dashboard where you can see all your games and apps.
Yeah.
I think it's just called games and apps, right?
Yep.
And it'll show everything you have installed, right?
Yep.
And then plug in the SSD card, and in a second, less than a second, bloop, everything popped up. The icons, everything instantly load up too. Not like where it just loads up a bunch of
the empty
boxes.
squares.
Right, gets the empty squares in, they slowly fill in. No.
Yeah.
Boom, everything instantly with all the pictures and everything. I'm just like, oh snap, and it's getting all of that right off the SSD that quick, and it's hot swappable, which means you can you're in the dashboard, you don't gotta go anything, like in Windows where you have to go to USB thing and eject it or whatever. No, just
Yes.
pull it out. Just pull it out. It's safe to do so.
Oh,
and
that
then
sounds kind of
put it
dirty,
in a
man.
different one.
You gotta pull it out. You got.
Hey man,
You
my
gotta stay
pull-out game
safe.
is strong, but my pull-out game is strong, baby.
You gotta pull out, man. All right, you gotta pull it out. To put the other game in there. The other.
Yeah.
The other.
There you go. Yeah, and so this is why we were talking about that earlier. That maybe it would have been nicer if the connector was in the front, if they made or even that revision that was rumored to come out, because of the leaks. Hopefully it's still not round like a. Actually, I don't even care if it's round the way it was, because the Series X looks like a little mini refrigerator, right? They got so much crap about it. They made the refrigerators, and I bought one, and I'm looking to buy one of the bigger ones, but I digress.
You got that Minecraft now. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah, man. I've seen that. Yeah, the creeper one. Yeah, I saw that. But yeah, man, if they made that where the connector was right there on the front,
yeah,
bro, that's a good idea. That's something I think they really should do.
Yeah. For sure. For sure. Well, Microsoft has pissed off some employees at their employees. I want to say office, maybe their home, but
they're staffing.
He finally dropped off. Something happened on his end.
Oh, no.
But yeah, Microsoft employees are not happy. They're losing free Game Pass Ultimate.
Oh no!
Employees can still get it through their Microsoft store, like their internal store.
And it's still going to be super cheap if they do it there.
It's still it's super cheap, but come on.
Yeah.
There's 200 and something thousand employees. That is like a drip of the bucket, right? In the grand scheme of things, when it comes to or is Microsoft losing money because they're not paying? These employees are not paying. And so,
well, I'll put it to you like this: it's not cool, and I don't see that they need to do this.
No.
But at the same time, this is not saving them any money. But at the same time, rather it be this in the situation going over at Bungie and Sony themselves or anywhere else, frankly.
I think
somebody.
I think Wilmy Hood said that. It's like, well, at least they're not fired.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And this is just outside. Like, we've seen all this stuff with Bungie and that's not a good look. And I'm sure we'll get into that real quick here. But just in general, man, we see where the economy is at and stuff is going all over industries left and right. This is not a game. Things are kind of tough right now. So
this is.
But this is petty and stupid.
Sometimes I see it as in a different angle.
Microsoft do nothing.
Because do you really have to increase the price of certain things or take things away because of what's going on, or because you want to keep up with everybody else? I guess that company B did it. I guess we're gonna do it too. I was like, but
I don't think Microsoft is really like that. Not every company is mindless like that. And at very least, you would think they consider the optics of these moves, right?
Yeah.
And a move like this,
employees are not going to leave because of this. So
nobody's gonna but how much does this truly benefit Microsoft if things are getting comparatively quote unquote tight? Everybody, this is a company that's earning trillions of dollars and blah blah blah. They don't have a pile of $1 trillion just sitting on a table somewhere to pay whatever issue, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. But yet and still,
but here's the kicker.
I think they would be able to afford this and not take it away at all. I get that, but
here's the kicker. Here's the kicker in all this.
Oh no! Here's a crazy kicker. I guarantee you, Phil Spencer, right? His paycheck, little piece of his
We'll
paycheck,
pay for that.
right, could cover the cost that they perceive that they're losing because they're giving it away to their staff,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
At Microsoft, I guarantee you. But
So
it is what it is, though.
So here's a little side thing. So it's saying
Rather than
Microsoft
people get
employees. In the headline, it doesn't say which employees. In the article, it does. So people that work at the Xbox division still get it free. It's everybody else that's outside of it that don't.
That makes the most sense. That makes the most sense, frankly.
Well, they are separate. They are treating them as separate entities, right? So
yeah,
since Xbox is its own thing, that's a perk of working for Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
So
like,
would Xbox employees pay for Office and the Office people don't?
Well, no,
that would only be right.
Yeah,
because Game Pass costs more than Office.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but at the same time, this is probably like, like the Xbox thing was a perk that everybody at Microsoft was getting, but they weren't getting the Office thing. I guarantee you, what they did with Office was what they're returning to now with everybody else who's non-Xbox. Is like if you buy from the Microsoft store, you're getting like 80% off or some
insane discount, right?
I forget exactly what the number is because Realist knows we have this one guy who's usually in spaces with us, and he's worked for Microsoft in the past, or I think he does currently. I forget. And he said what the percentage of savings is, and it's something massive, like 80%, 70%, something like that,
massive.
like real crazy, right? So I guarantee you, these Xbox folks, like if they're getting Office and Windows real cheap, it's the same thing. They're going to the Microsoft store that they have, their internal store, and it's crazy sales and stuff like that. So just the Xbox people, should have access to that, just like the Office team would get Office for free, right? But be able to get Game Pass.
What would you rather have, Office or Game Pass?
Well, of course. But what I'm saying is it's just like what you're saying. Depending on the division you're in, that's what you get for completely free, and then you can buy the rest.
So an Azure employee is like, he gets Azure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's definitely how it should work.
Azure
but it's
cloud is in Office though.
Yeah. Right. That is true. But it's like what I'm noticing is, and it's not so much Tom from The Verge, because he's the one who put this article out, right? It's because it seems like a lot of people are seeing this as if this is just some kind of shade to put on Microsoft compared to all the bad stuff that's been happening in Sony. Right? Like we
got to put something bad about Microsoft because there's just too much by Sony.
Right. Exactly. And the way it's coming off is it's making this false narrative optics wise, right?
Yeah.
Like if you break down the situation, it makes sense. Why should and think about it like this: all these companies and stuff that Microsoft has been buying lately, right? It used to be back in the day that Microsoft was a lot like EA when it comes to them buying like some software developer and integrating them into the company, right?
Yeah.
Like they used to integrate them into Microsoft so their identity was gone. Now it's like Activision, Blizzard, King, a Microsoft company, right? This developer, Ninja Theory, a Microsoft company, right? Like they're part of Microsoft, but they keep their identity as a whole. They're under Microsoft and they're a part of that umbrella and they're a piece of still, right? But at the same time, they're also separate and they have their own independent identity that they came in with. And that's something I feel Microsoft learned from all the other, past acquisitions where they just absorbed them until they didn't really exist anymore. And even that DNA has been filtered in and out of Microsoft. Pause. And you know what I'm saying?
Google Poll, shut up.
What's up, Google Poll? But see, like the way Microsoft treated gaming before is if it wasn't anything serious, right?
Right.
Like Sony executives had the same attitude towards gaming until they realized how much money it made, and then of course Nintendo challenged them to a duel with both sides of their hands. But like Microsoft learned a whole lot as far as gaming culture, how studios should be handled through the years. Unfortunately we had to lose what is it? I want to call him Lion. What are they called? Peter Molyneux. Lionhead. Yeah, we have to lose studios like Lionhead for them to get to where they are and understand like these people are, for one, the new generation, right? And they're a different breed altogether. So how to handle these people, how to handle, development, studios, gaming, or culture, office culture. And, now, just like you said, they're going to have several studios, but they get to maintain their identity and culture. And I think that's the best way to do it, especially as long as you have got the old guard still around. Because what was his name? It wasn't Miyazaki. Golly, man, Tango Gameworks. Well, anyway,
yeah, guy. I forget his name.
yeah, he's gone. So there's a whole new culture getting ready to be established, right? The playground people left, so there's a new culture getting ready to be established. They have the RPG side. That's a whole new culture. So they have to learn how they fit into what Microsoft does, as opposed to trying to make them fit into what they have to learn to find out what these studios do and fit into that and blend into that instead of trying to make them blend into Microsoft. So
Right.
I think that's what you said earlier. That was real powerful as far as how Microsoft has evolved as a company in gaming with Xbox. Because man, what they were doing in the past, they really didn't know what they were doing. And I've said it. 360 was the worst thing to happen because they didn't really do anything to be number one.
Well, they
You know,
did.
they did.
They
No,
did,
they
but they
didn't.
did in the way. No, well, no, they made a lot of better decisions in terms of like attracting Japanese developers, and they did a lot of that
Why did
work
they attract Japanese developers?
because they went
Because
out
it's
there and
some because they couldn't sell PlayStations, so the Japanese didn't have anywhere else to sell. Nintendo was on a
but they were working,
downslope.
but they were working with them long before the PlayStation 3 was
I
even announced
guarantee,
and
I
became
guarantee,
the
I
early
guarantee
flop.
you, I guarantee you, those Japanese developers came to Xbox and not the other way around. Now
No, because
Xbox is now
I'm gonna give you a
Xbox is
perfect
coming to
example.
them.
I'm gonna give you a perfect example because Final Fantasy 13, it was known to be PlayStation exclusive for like a couple years before
It
it
wouldn't
finally
matter
came out,
if
and
it
even
was
if it was
Final
not.
Fantasy 25. They weren't
But
selling PlayStations.
that's well, that was decided after these moves were. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like the moves that Microsoft made to attract Japanese developers happened before PlayStation stopped selling. They were making these moves at the end of the PS2 generation to set up for the 360. And the Final Fantasy thing was the example that shows afterwards that they kept going with it, right? It wasn't until this last generation when PlayStation started getting their mojo back. And once again, just like you're saying with Microsoft, that it wasn't so much what they did. It was the same thing last generation with Sony. It wasn't so much what they did either. They lucked into a lot of, in fact,
Yeah, but I'm not
every
saying that
generation got
Sony did
punished for
anything
one.
special. You're saying that Xbox
Oh,
did,
oh,
and I challenge that they didn't because they
but
they got a lot of things. They got a lot of things because they were number one.
but that
And
happened.
then as soon as they weren't number one, all those companies went right back to PlayStation, and Magic was saying those games don't sell. So now
But
they have added
but
incentive not to deal with Xbox.
but now they have added excessive. Definitely not to fuck with Sony. They see what the fuck is going on. But that's exactly what I'm saying though. Like a lot of those moves were made before PlayStation stopped selling because they were still on PS2. Like I'm not saying they did all this
Look,
special stuff,
Xbox
but they were.
Xbox is
Oh, hold on.
always
I'm
going to
saying,
be
but you're
open.
interrupting me. But you're interrupting me. So
Yeah,
what
but
you're
you keep
saying is
saying the same thing, and I don't agree.
He's trying to finish.
because you. But that's fine. Let me finish though. Like, jeez. Like, but
Keep
it's
saying it
simple.
though.
Yo, what the hell? Now you're just being petty with it.
He's
Simple
messing
fact
with
is,
you.
I'm gonna shut
nah,
up, bro.
you're doing
I'm
this for
gonna
the
shut
lols
up.
anyway. You can't keep talking. Either way, Microsoft did put in a lot of work in the 360 era, but that doesn't mean it was everything they did worked out for them. But likewise with Sony, every generation that succeeded wasn't as much as what they did as they really lucked into it. You definitely say that more about Sony than you can Microsoft. But to say that in the 360 era, especially early on before the PlayStation 3 was even out. Remember, the Xbox was out for a year before the
Okay, well
PS3 was out.
let me ask
Microsoft
you a
has put a
question.
lot of work in these developers.
What big Japanese games were on the Xbox early on?
Most all of them.
I'm
This
gonna
is
have to look it
before the
up because I
PS3 was
don't
out.
know.
But this is what you always say too. You weren't even really messing with that generation, and they like you jumped all over
That's
me.
why I said I'm
So
gonna have to. That's why I said I'm gonna have to look it up. But I know that Japanese support didn't come until they figured out that play like the because we always praise Microsoft for having this great Japanese support. But the minute
No.
that they didn't need Xbox anymore, they went right back to PlayStation.
Right, of course. But see, that was but see, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. When 360 had their ducks mostly in a row, right? And Sony didn't. They went with Microsoft. And then in the generation afterwards, the positions were swapped 180 degrees, right? It was Sony where everything was working out for them, and then Microsoft couldn't make a good decision to save their lives, right? And the developer, especially the Japanese developer, but we saw it pretty much industry wide, to be honest, right? It wasn't just the Japanese. It was pretty much the whole industry started messing with PlayStation, and PlayStation started getting
Titanfall.
easy default. Right. But Microsoft had to work for those, right? But generally,
No. EA bet that Microsoft was going to continue the success they had with 360, and that's why they'd already planned that before the console dropped. But
that's exactly my point with the 360.
like once, yeah, but like I didn't see this overwhelming because look, I'm going back and I'm playing a lot of these games. I'm going and I'm looking because I'm trying to get into the Japanese games. You had Blue Dragon. You had oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you sound better now.
Okay. Well, I just went by trees, but like yeah, Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey. You had those things. Those were Xbox first party projects, and that's why like when you look at it like Ninja, like Tecmo, they go after Tecmo and say, hey, we'd like to acquire you. What's that?
No, he said a game Undiscovery. Was Infinite Undiscovery. He named 3
Oh,
games.
okay, he's naming more games.
Yeah.
But like,
see, I told you, man.
What
I tell you? What did I tell you? What I tell you?
What?
Man.
The World Series champions.
Oh yeah. No, what I was saying when they start talking about Microsoft acquiring Tecmo, the CEO says that Microsoft has to show more of a commitment to Japan, because like what they did with the 360, they were out. Don Matrix says those games don't sell, and so a lot of these, yeah, but you know those are, you know, I hate to sound like a weeb, but the Japanese are a very proud people and they live by their principles.
You're right though. But
Mr. Kim is late for the sports talk, man. Get out of here.
It's just but he did call that Kim was gonna say that. And then he hopped and
he probably came in like a ninja, man. Like, I'm going to come in, I'm going to post this, and jump out. That's what he did.
But yeah, like I said before, I really just think the industry just went whichever one was the obvious winner. And last generation, that was Sony. The generation before that, it was generally Microsoft, right? And then, you know, but even Ubisoft, early on in the generation before last, they put all their ducks in a row with Nintendo, right? And when a lot of that did not work out and sell at all on the Wii, no, it was a whole thing. Trust me, I can get into the details after the show, but
but like Ubisoft.
But I will tell you the story, and then you'll understand. Listen,
no, I was just gonna say that Ubisoft is always everywhere.
That's not what happened at this
they were
point.
They were the only ones on Stadia. They were the only ones on Wii U.
No, I'm not talking about the Wii U. I'm talking about the Wii. See, like just hear me out. The Wii, early on in the 360 generation with the Wii and the PS3. Remember the PS3? I think the Wii came out the week before the PS3. Yeah, or the week after. But anyway, early on, Ubisoft had specifically focused heavy on the Wii. They wanted that easy Wii money, right? And then sometime after, like a year or two after. Hey, remember the Wii was blowing up crazy.
Post like, what are you guys arguing about?
but like, the games just did not sell that well, right? And then they doubled down on like Xbox and PlayStation, like they should have the whole time. Like, you know, all this focus that we put on this other platform when we should have, you know, spread our, you know, work more evenly. They announced this. This was news articles the whole time, and I remember. Because I don't know if you know Wetworks. You know 108 Dragons, but Wetworks is a friend between the both of us, right? And this is something we followed back then. And we never forgot this. like we bring this up in conversation like once every 3 months, right? Like Ubisoft tried to focus heavily on the original Wii. It didn't work out for them, and then they like apologized, basically. And there were articles in the news all about it at the time, right? And that they're going to start, focusing a lot more on the 360 and the PlayStation, like they should have the whole time. This is basically how they said it. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, but that's generally what Ubisoft had said about it. Like they made a mistake and should have, focused on all 3 platforms more evenly, right? And so, like Ubisoft had to work hard to get, a lot of these games out that they should have had in that generation the whole time. Like Ghost Recon was there around launch period, around spring, right? In spring on 360. Then I think the year after that they did Rainbow Six, but Rainbow Six could have been a lot better in terms of frame rate,
which on
and
Vegas?
stability. Yeah, Vegas won, right?
Yeah.
Had they not focused a lot of that energy on the Wii, and this is something Ubisoft has said. This is why I'm bringing up these specific examples. And I own those games, and if you look at my account, you can see all the hours and achievements I have on those. So trust me, I know full well about what Ubisoft is doing. But the point I'm bringing up is a lot of these developers, they just see whatever's the money at, and that's what they'll go through. And I don't think it's specifically about the Japanese per se, although indeed, of course, the Japanese will mess with their own. So that's Nintendo and Sony by default. Yeah. Definitely true. But I don't think that's the only thing that will guide them. But it does take something obvious, like, one platform really ain't it, like with the Wii U, like the Xbox One last generation, for the Japanese developers to be like, man, we're really not even going to mess with this one at all. We're going to go with the easy default and not even mess with the other one unless they pay us for certain titles, right? And now we're seeing that starting to reverse. And indeed, of course, Microsoft, has put in some efforts out there in Japan. We know this for a fact, right? And it's starting to bear fruit. But at the same time, I'm starting to notice that a lot of these Japanese developers are putting stuff on PC. They're putting wild stuff that they would never put on Xbox or PC in any generation, where even if the Japanese were messing with Microsoft or PC like that, like it's spreading out a lot more. They're starting to realize to hedge their bets and put these games out on more platforms, even mobile. There's a lot of these games that are on mobile that I wouldn't have had imagined. I would have thought, back like a generation or so ago, it would have been a specific mobile version, but now it's like outright the full version. Now, of course, it's like smaller games like, Streets of Rage 4 or that Turtles game from last year, or even Trials of Mana, right? It was a full, it's not a AAA or anything like that, and they're putting those things on mobile, and they're trying to, spread the games out to get as much money as they can. And so I think that, what the fuck, that was probably my lips going like that. But yeah, you see Punty, man, he never stops, bro. Please never.
But see, that's what my problem with Japanese studios is. The money is everywhere. Yes. Because when you look at the sales of the games and they are excluding certain platforms, the platforms that they include, it's not like they're just selling gangbusters. Not even Final Fantasy anymore, Dragon's Quest, and they're on PC because over there in the East, they're a majority of PC. They're on PC. They just started really selling consoles over there. Now in Japan, they're a handheld market. The cell phones make the most sense, and that's the beauty of their games, right? Yeah. They're not technically strenuous, so they can put them on a cell phone. Even before this new iPhone or Adreno 580 Snapdragon comes out, like you can always run those games on a cell phone. This is where Square is really eating right now, because putting their games on PC, barely hitting like 1 million, 500,000 is a win, 250,000 is a cause for celebration. But putting it on the cell phone, like Capcom is on cell phones, Ace Attorney, right? That's perfect for cell phones.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
and the great thing about it is too, like when they make these cell phone versions, oftentimes to put it on the PC is like a day's work. Sometimes you see, it makes for a bad port in terms of the options that on that PC gamers expect. But like a lot of these games are just simple controller games. It's like Radiant Silvergun, right? Well, it came to Steam today, right? But before it was released today, they had already announced it's not going to support the keyboard and mouse. Like, duh, it's an arcade game with a little spaceship that you fly around and shoot stuff. Why would you need a keyboard and mouse, right? But because the community had complained about it, they added that. So when it was released today was already there in the 1.0 version, right? But other than that, all they were gonna do is take the 360 version that was the original version of this port and the Switch version that they released last year, and just compile it and put it on PC. Sometimes it's just that simple, right? And that cheap to do, and they'll do that, and they're getting their little money, like $500,000 over here or $250,000 over there, and then you get like 3 million and 6 million or more, even on mobile, depending on the game, right?
Yeah.
And they'll just
Don't
take the
even
money
hit
from all
that.
these places. Right, but
That's my problem with them. If they were hitting that, then that'd be great. They're
Right.
lucky to hit 1.5.
but
They need to
that's
put it everywhere. Xbox
Right.
sold 60 million consoles last generation. Over the course of the whole generation, they should have had those games everywhere. That's not how you build a fan base. Now Xbox has to pay these guys to put their games in Game Pass so that people will actually start playing them. So because all this time people were, if you were a JRPG guy, you were on Nintendo or PlayStation,
Yeah,
not
generation,
Xbox.
But the
Period. I
generation
mean,
before- no, but the 360 generation, once again, like I said, you always talk about how you're not.
they came and they went. Like I had the OG. There's very little, like, other than like games like Tecmo. There'd be more like Western Japanese games. I'm talking about the Japanese games.
Right, you're talking about Japanese, and so am I. But you're talking about the original Xbox, you're saying the OG. But then I'm talking about the 360 generation.
Well, no, I'm talking about the 360. 360 is the exception. That's when they had to go to Xbox.
Right.
They had no choice but to go to Xbox because they weren't able to sell $600 PlayStations. But I know Tech asked us what we were talking about a long time ago, so I guess we'll talk about GameStop.
Who cares about GameStop? Let me guess, they increased the price of something, or they did something stupid again.
I'll get into it. All right, so nobody likes GameStop, but at the same time, nobody wants GameStop to go away, right?
I'm starting to disagree with. Not me. I don't care one way or another. When they die, I'll be like, oh, it's about damn time, right?
Right.
But most people, I think, are ambivalent. They just don't care anymore.
No, they don't.
And
they don't.
I think there's a small minority who will be like, yay, they're dead.
Yeah.
Ding dong, the witch is dead. I'm sure they'll sing that.
Yeah.
And it'll be like 20%.
You go to
Reddit.
Anymore. GameStop Reddit, and you'll hear all sorts of stories, right? I read them all the time because, one, it just kind of gives me an inside scoop. Second, it's kind of entertaining, right?
Yeah.
And so I found this earlier today. I'm like, GameStop keeps finding new ways to rip people off. And not just, customers, but employees as well, right? And so I told you earlier off the air that GameStop's Pro, which usually was 15, which Eli thought that's what it still was, it went up to $25. So it's now 25. And the only reason why I know it went to 25 because I received an email stating, hey, come back as a pro and save yourself $10.
Hold on. From 15 to 20, so they skipped 20 fully.
Yeah, so
right?
they skipped.
This has been a long time since they've increased the thing. The last time I used it was early last generation. Remember when I always tell that story about how I bought, a couple of the Call of Duties on disc, right?
Yeah.
That's when I redid that was the last time I redid my GameStop like membership thing. And back then it was 15. So that's like at least a decade ago.
Right.
So I can understand they increased it, but they went up 2 jumps.
Wait. Let me get into the details.
It's more.
And so
It's more.
some people just don't like the Pro. If you don't use it right, then the $15 is not worth it. Especially now it's $25. Right.
Right.
Just not worth it. And if you're not a constant shop, like I'm not a constant shop. I like to go in and go during the sales, right? I don't go in there by full price or anything like that. And so this came out today. So they're both ripping off the customers and the employees. With the customers, like I said, the price went up from $15 to $25. So a huge jump, right? On top of that, they're backing down on some of the perks, right? It's always been known that you get $5 per month to spend on whatever, right? $60. So that kind of pretty much covers your $15 for the year, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then if you sign up, like me, mine is expired. If I sign up now, I'm supposed to get like $10 at sign up, right? Well, they took that away, right? They took that away. What else did they take away? you can't use that $10 bonus that you get every month towards PSN cards or Xbox cards or Steam cards or Roblox cards, those kind of digital currencies.
Dude, it's just like the last nail in the coffin of a GameStop. It's like The Walking Dead. They never just freaking die already. But all the dumb shit they're doing. I'm not gonna say guilty, but I'm that customer that would, if I have nothing to buy that month, I'll use that $5 and buy $10 of Xbox gift card. And add that to my account. Right? Yeah.
That's what I usually do. So now they're gonna prohibit that. You cannot use it towards those digital currencies. Right?
Bastards.
And then it's just a huge mess. Right? Another thing, here's some move that they're doing with, let's just say for a console. You buy an Xbox console, whatever console, it could be PlayStation, it could be Xbox, it could be Switch, something. You buy it new at the retail price, right? And then of course, you know how they are. They push you, they start pushing the warranty thing. Right? They start pushing the warranty and say, hey, just in case it breaks, in the next year or so, you get it replaced and yada. And that kind of warranty, what do you assume when you get that warranty you're going to get? A brand new one to replace what you bought brand new, or a refurbished or used one? What would you think you would get?
Well, because you're asking, I assume they think I'm going to get a used one, but my expectation before you ask would just be I'd be getting a new one.
Exactly. No, they're done with that. They will give you, here's the kicker. They will give you whatever they have in stock, pretty much. Not brand new, right? So either a used one, traded in, whatever that's there in the back, the stock room, whatever's available is what they'll give you, right? Not brand new, right?
Well,
and if they don't have one, they will send you across town to another store.
Yeah. Now that part's not too surprising, but I was reading something on Reddit today. Somebody bought, ROG Ally open box from Best Buy, right? Mm-hmm. And in fact, I've seen a lot of people on Reddit talking about that, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the commenters were like, it's usually somebody either had an issue with their SD card slot, or they thought they did and didn't, because a lot of them, they're getting these, open boxes and the SD card slot is at least fine for now, and then it'll break later, right?
Yeah. Because
it's still epidemic with that. Or like the person was having software issues. They didn't realize it was really running Windows, and they can't rub two brain cells together to use Windows to play a game, but wanted, a $800 PC annual, but did no research about what the hell they were buying, right? So dumb things like that. So basically, it's not the fault of the hardware, right? So it's, an open box that, some people will buy TVs and stuff, open box, whatever, right? As a display model. It's being used, but there's nothing wrong with it because of the use case. It's probably fine,
you're aware,
right?
That's what you're getting.
Right. But sometimes what will happen is they'll go for open box, right? And this was the different thing that I read today. Like a dude went in for an open box, right? It looked all good, right? But it was the only one they had. Open box, right?
Yeah.
So he went home. It was actually broken for real. It didn't work, so he brought it back.
Yeah.
What they do, they give him a new one off the shelf, because they had new ones.
Yeah.
But in terms of the open box, they only had the one open box for the open box price.
Yeah.
So you gotta have to look into it a little bit. But situations like that, my point is that if you played smart, you could work it out. And when GameStop was only $15, it worked out for that. In fact, usually you go there to buy something used or trade something in, right? And the credit you get for that will pay for the membership. You walk in not having a membership. That's what happened to me when I with that story I always tell about those PC versions of Call of Duty. I even have a membership. I walked in, and what I had to buy, whatever, or trade in or whatever, covered the cost of the membership outright. And already in the same transaction, they'll do it, right? Within the same transaction, it's not even a separate one where they get you in, and then after you're in, now they can leverage your membership, to get, discounts or other things. In the same transaction, they make you a member, and then use your membership that's within the same receipt, like to give you discounts on certain things, and like you would have to.
That's the incentive.
Yeah, that's the incentive. Like you have to work it smart when you're there, and you have to go there often enough. And back in the days when GameStop wasn't beating us over the head, we knew they were making money off of our used games and stuff, but it wasn't egregious until like 3 years into it, right? Because it happened pretty early, but at the earliest point, it really didn't, right? But like 3 years into it, we started noticing, the crap trading values. You go to buy a game, and they're trying to give you the display model that they already cut open, acting like it's brand new, yada yada yada. It was things like that became the slow downfall of GameStop, right? Yeah. And we only messed with them because it was economically good. As soon as it wasn't anymore, or if it wasn't worth the effort, right, to get the savings, you stop messing with them.
Yeah.
Amazon came up, Best Buy, lots of other
retailers. They trades for a while. I used to go to Best Buy all the time.
Yeah, now even Best Buy stopped doing that, and even I think they got rid of that membership thing, which
Dude, that was the best one.
Yes.
Best Buy Gamer Club Unlocked was the best one they had.
Right. And the fact that they had killed, I think, last year, the year before, I guess, in hindsight, it makes sense, that we should have seen the writing on the wall back then. Maybe some folks did, but I know I didn't. But it just goes to show, like, if you shop smart and you pay attention, you can get deals out of any of these guys. But it does take a little bit of luck, too.
Yeah.
But GameStop, man, listen,
dude,
eventually
they're gonna be gone.
They
soon.
just need to. It's like the walking undead now. Like just walking around, walking into walls. He doesn't even have teeth to bite anybody. His T virus, everybody's immune and got the jab, so nobody's gonna get infected from his T virus. So he's just shambling along, walking into walls, not knowing what the hell he's doing. And that's GameStop. Like eventually, his body will rot enough where he can't move anymore, and the sun will come and it will ash out and it'll be good then. But it's a slow decline with GameStop. Like they've been dying for a decade now. They first started dying at the beginning of last generation. Yeah, right.
It's just bad.
It's just like even Reggie was there for a while, but the heads up wouldn't let Reggie do what he had to do because
they can't keep leaders. They can't.
They can't because they won't let their leaders do what they need to do. Yeah. Right? Like Phil Spencer had the support of Satya Nadella. Right?
Yeah. No matter that's what. That's $1 trillion company, man.
But still, they had to have the faith in him to do what he asked to do or just say no, right? Yeah. These dudes brought in Reggie, had the foresight of mind, the presence of mind to say, okay, Reggie feels a mate. He knows what he's doing. Let's bring him in. And then we don't listen to anything he says, and then he decides to leave. And then we're sitting here, twiddling our thumbs, not wondering what the problem is, right? And that's what's going on with GameStop. It seems like they don't know what the F they're doing.
Reggie was never there. Just like the guy who owns the online pet food company, right? He's worth Chewy? $1 billion. He's worth Chewy. He's worth more than GameStop himself, right?
Of course.
GameStop, their market cap is not even $1 billion, I don't think, right? So it's so it's like to have them take those sorts of risks, right? Reggie had Nintendo. Nintendo had a bunch of cash on deck. They could take risks, right? Yeah. There was a time when they couldn't after the Wii U. The Switch was the Hail Mary, but now they're back on top. Debt-free, everything they make is cash in the bank. But GameStop can't really take any risks. But like you said, you are, I guess, apathetic. I don't want to see them go away. But they give me very little incentive to shop with them over
exactly. That's
the competition.
Yeah. It's like I don't care if they live or die because of what you just said.
Well, I care because it's like, I mean, I'm older, and I remember whenever you wanted to buy something, the first impulse was not to go on your phone, right? You would get up off your sorry ass and go to the store and see what they had to offer. And when you go into GameStop, like it's not what it used to be. People aren't happy to be there the way they used to be.
No, they're not.
GameStop used to be the nerd. GameStop used to be the nerd hangout. GameStop used to be the place where nerds united. sit around talking about their video games and look up the list for the year of the games that were coming out for the year. I mean, GameStop pretty much bought everybody, right? You had Babbage's, you had Electronics Boutique, you had all these stores
Yep.
that GameStop absorbed, and then when GameStop's absorbed, Think Geek goes out with them, and I'm pretty sure a lot of offshoots they leave right along with them. Well, Think Geek still exists here. In Houston we have them in the malls, but that's why I don't want to see them go. But I think more than anything, the industry doesn't want to see GameStop go. That's why you see, Microsoft partnering up, right? Microsoft offered them a sweetheart deal, right? They said, hey, we know that digital really has no incentive for you. So all digital purchases you'll get a royalty, for lack of a better term. You'll get a piece of those.
Yeah.
And I thought that was good, right? And when they said that Walmart was going to discontinue selling Xbox games, I was like, well, they must have gave them a GameStop deal. Where you'll sell the hardware, and we won't have so much emphasis on the software or the discs or physical discs, and you'll get a piece of all these purchases.
Yeah.
But earlier, when the first thing you mentioned was you can't purchase credit or money cards or services. And honestly, I don't know why they ever did that, right? Because there's no margin in that. The cost of the service is the cost of the service. How much are they really making for that to give it to you for credits that they're giving to you for just loyalty programs?
Yeah.
So there's no margin in the games. Look, these games aren't worth $60. I mean, they may be worth $60, but somebody has to explain to me why a physical game is $70 and why an online game is $70. And an online game doesn't. Look, for the most part, the games don't even come with manuals and maps the way they used to. It used to be a nice presentation when you bought a physical copy of the game.
Yep.
But all that's gone, right? Yeah. You get a game. They give you turn it in next week. You bought Spider-Man last week. You turn it in this week for $70. They're gonna give you $30 in store credit and put it right back up there for $65. There's margin in that. That's why they can apply it to that, and it makes sense, especially for a company like GameStop that's barely standing. So I don't understand why whoever came up with an idea to try to sell Robux or service credit with reward points, because it never made sense business wise. But that's something they chose to do. I'm not disappointed that they took it away. I'm disappointed that they took it away, but I understand.
Yeah.
I don't want them to go away because I don't know about you, Sick, but we had Circuit City, right?
So yeah, we had it. It was right next to Best Buy.
It was always right across the street, right? Or right down the street. But now we used to have CompUSA.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
We had Fry's. We had Micro Center, right? Micro Center was here. Micro Center left. Micro Center came back recently.
Yes.
So when you take away all these stores, where is the education? Where is the go check this thing out? That's why I want GameStop to go. I hope that they figure out a way to keep GameStop relevant, because they're trying to sell things like PC parts, right? Because people keep saying, "Oh, Best Buy's leaving," and a lot of people say good, and then I see people say good riddance. It's like, damn, good riddance. What stores do y'all have? Because right now all we but see that's foolish thinking. To think that just because you're getting something cheaper, if you're just that content with being a couch potato, I'll never understand you.
I'm not
get up and go shop and talk to people. You know what I mean? But if GameStop loses, I'm just talking about us in general, or especially those who side with losing a company like GameStop, because pretty much GameStop is almost as populous as as Starbucks, right? If you go to Starbucks, you can put your eyes on the GameStop.
Yeah, he's botting again.
He's botting again, dog. He's botting again. But so. Now, I didn't get into details of of the employees, their insurance and benefits are getting the benefits are getting cut, but they pay double now. Okay.
Hey,
now, GameStop has a cash reserve of like $1 billion because of the whole stock thing that happened, whatever, a year ago or a year and a half ago. Right? They have reserves. Okay. Because of that. Now, these employees are pissed because, I mean, they're already getting crap, currently until this new policy kicks in, they're getting crap more. You there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I am.
So now what pisses them off even more, and because GameStop is here in Grapevine, which is not too far from the Rangers, right? Which is not too far, right? GameStop announced last month that the CEO promised every player on the Texas team a $10,000 GameStop gift card if they won the World Series, which they did in 5 games.
But they think they mattress Mac now?
Wonder if this tweet was before or after he decided to cut insurance and 401k benefits. It's like, dude, really?
Well, it just goes to show. See, this is what I'm saying. There's no element of these guys being self-aware, and that's the point I was making with Reggie earlier. Like, they brought this dude in, and by his own words, because I've seen interviews from him after he was gone, he was basically like they weren't listening to him at all, right?
Yeah.
And so all this stuff you were saying earlier, Realist, about Nintendo having money, Microsoft, that's not what the point I was making. It's like they don't listen. So you bring somebody in that you think can help, but then you don't listen to him, and then you wonder why things aren't going good, right?
Well,
so,
what happens when that person that you bring in is not working within the framework of what you have going on? What if they're not willing? What if they're not willing to swing for the fences and just say all or nothing?
That's what the problem is. See, listen,
I can
you can frame it like that all you want, right? But everything you said about earlier, people going out to stores and educating themselves, that's the old way of thinking. And I agree, the better way of thinking. I'm not saying it's just old and dusted and people don't do that anymore and just move on and get with the times, old man, right? I'm not saying that, but that's how people think, and they don't care. And it's not cheaper. We see this. It's not cheaper. It's easier. It's just easier. They don't care. They don't care enough. If they cared, then this would have happened in the first place, right? But GameStop continued to fuck up over and over and over. So the gamers are ambivalent. No, they're not ambivalent.
How did they mess up? Just one example.
They constantly messed up.
I just want an example.
One example is when people were complaining left and right about how much they're giving for trade-in value, which was something people complained about for a decade. That's just one thing, right? All the funny, fucked up things they were doing left and right. I have to sit here and list them. Like I list.
Well, I mean, no. I asked you for one example. That's what I'm saying. If you say constantly, I just ask you to pull one out your ass. But you got to understand though. Like they're still a business, and if they take a trade in, they're giving you credit on something. Basically, you're gonna take that and you're gonna go buy something else.
Hey, hold on a second. I was making a point. Hang on, I was making a point. You interrupted me to say what you're saying. I didn't even get my point out. Like people who play games, who are our age, maybe at most 10 years younger, right? Who fucked with GameStop. They're tired of GameStop. GameStop made people not want to mess with GameStop. You don't have to sit here and talk about the details of it, right? I could do that. I gave you one example. I could give you more. That's not the point.
But people are always going to complain about their money. That's what I'm getting at, because that's what you're getting at. People complaining. It's always about their money. It's always about credits and this and that. You shouldn't have bought it if you couldn't afford it. You don't go to a pawn shop looking to get top dollar, because that pawn shop needs to sell it back. That's the same principle that GameStop uses. I just think that they have a broken business model, and it's not that they're screwing up, it's that the world changed around them.
And they didn't adapt. Then this is what I'm saying. Like,
how did they adapt though?
They didn't adapt. They didn't really adapt.
But like, be Reggie Fils-Aimé right now. How could you adapt a brick and mortar strategy to this current digital revolution that's taking place?
Well, I don't know what plans he had in place since he didn't get into those.
I'm just saying you as
But
tech,
I'm just
but
saying,
like, dude, we're fine. We're armchair financiers. We're armchair
I'm not being an
CEOs.
armchair financier.
I got
I'm
lazy
just
I'm
back.
just saying. I'm asking you to do it because I don't see anything that they could
But
have
that
really done
doesn't
differently.
prove anything at all if I can't.
I
All
mean,
I'm
I think they
saying
would have,
is,
if they would have added more, like better incentives to go physical than digital, maybe. And what those incentives are, I don't know.
right.
Maybe
but
better
the
point
simple
system
fact is,
for the
the
loyalty
simple
program.
fact is, your
But see, a
number.
point system equates to them giving up more that they don't have.
I don't care about the details of that. They're the business. I'm the consumer.
You only care about you.
No. What I'm saying is, if
You should.
as a consumer, I don't want to fuck with your business, that's your fault. Because I'm fucking with everybody else. I'm fucking with Walmart, Best Buy when Circuit City was around, everybody else, but not not GameStop. So much though that my cohorts will relish the day they're finally out of business. And I agree with you.
Walmart,
That's not a good
Walmart,
thing.
and Best
That's
Buy.
not a good thing.
Walmart and Best
It's
Buy
not-
ain't giving you nothing back.
No, not.
That's not about that. But we as gamers fuck with GameStop, right? And GameStop was fucking us over for years, and we're fed up with that. So most of us don't care when they die. When they die, most of us will be like, nah, hey, goodbye. And no one's really gonna care. There'll be a couple of people who's like, it's sad and unfortunate. And I don't think it's a good idea either. I agree with you, but it is what it is. They did it, not us.
I
I'm
don't
not gonna see him defend them.
think that.
And now he's biting at a key point.
I just know people have I'm Biden. Okay,
You
go
are.
ahead.
You're good now. You're good now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, no, because no, I was just saying like they're just doing things to help themselves stay in business, and people always think that they're entitled to more.
Sure,
We are.
They have
We
is
are.
broken.
Sure.
Okay.
No one cared. No, that's not my job to care. My job is.
I
I don't want. I don't.
And I'm kind of surprised.
You're supposed to look out for number one.
Yeah, we're supposed to look out for number one, and they're not doing anything that's in their best interest, and they haven't for a long time. When your customers are apathetic towards you, it doesn't matter what the details are. You're fucked up. It's that simple.
Y'all gonna miss them when they gone.
I haven't fucked with them in at least a decade. I already told the story, so it doesn't matter. I was already fucking heavy with Amazon then. It doesn't matter to me. I buy the things directly from the manufacturer. I mainly with digital, and so do you. And if there's a couple things here and there, I'll get physical if it's there.
Oh yeah. I'm digital.
We don't. So why do we care? We don't. We know we don't care. If we cared, we'd spend more money.
Just like I don't care about that team in Arlington. Fuck that team.
Facts.
Well, I care, but I'm still gonna look out for number one. Best Buy is gonna give me no questions asked returns, no refurbs.
Yep.
Right. So Walmart's gonna sell me State Farm, or what's the other one? Assurian. So it is what it is, but like they're gonna have to do something.
They better do something.
I think they should. I think that all these people should like Station, NVIDIA. They all put in and keep them alive, man.
All right.
Keep them alive.
All right.
You need that.
Sony
need that.
Anything that Sony touches these days is just goes to shit. And that's
turn to dookie.
It turns to dookie, and that goes the same with Bungie. Bungie was just fine. Okay, they were just fine by themselves until they got into this little. They got into bed with Sony, and now this is happening. Now, could this happen even without Sony? Maybe, but we're not there. We're here now with Sony and Bungie involved, and now it's a sad day for Sony Studio following layoffs. Any thoughts on this?
Man, the one thing I'm going to say on this is, in hindsight, right? Well, not even in hindsight, because really, we've been talking about this for years now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been saying since the beginning of this generation, or even before the generation began, right? From the Game Awards where they sneak announced the Xbox Series X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Already from that time period, things were low-key bad for Sony. because if you notice, they weren't really announcing anything new.
Yeah.
And even though they had a roadmap for a couple of years, it was just like, right? But in hindsight of Jim being fired, right? No one debates this now unless you're a pony. He got fired, right? That's number one. What's her name? Carol Bass or whatever. I forget her name, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The other chick from last week, right?
Yeah.
On that long, top level.
You better say Carol Baskin.
Yeah, and then I stopped.
She was another one. She was another one who used the I'm retiring because I got tired of traveling excuse.
Right. But and so in hindsight, right? It's like when you look back at these two events, after we started to hear all this stuff about Bungie, PlayStation is collapsing right in front of our eyes, and I don't think the optics is that way for more, and this is a common story, and this is where I think you're gonna jump in, Realist. This is something we've been talking about for a while, and I've been saying, if the shoe was on the other foot, if everything that was happening to Sony was instead happening to Xbox and Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
Xbox would have been dead long ago. I've been saying this, right? So that just goes enough to say that the things that have been happening to Sony have been really bad for a while now. So then, the conclusion is, when you look at everything in hindsight is 2020, as they say, right? You can look back at history with a different lens, as if you're all knowing. To see two top level people who have been there since basically the beginning of PlayStation, 30 plus years, right? And then all of a sudden they're tired of traveling when all this wild stuff is happening. There's no roadmap. Then we see what's going on with Bungie. Like, bro, this is probably why the both of them got shit canned. This is probably why. Stuff like this is just one thing, right? And there's lots of other things happening at PlayStation that we've been talking about, but only us as Xbox fans notice this. But what we notice is press isn't talking about this, and this is where it connects to everything else we've been saying for years now, right? The press ain't speaking up for it because they got Sony up their ass. Like, it's all this other crap, right? That's happening. So the optics of the situation aren't as bad as they should be. This is really bad. As much as I was saying last week here and elsewhere about with the situation with Sony and PlayStation particularly, like, and no, this is all about Sony because this is the one thing that profits for them, that keeps the rest of the corporation up. They need PlayStation to stay successful because it's got Sony on their back, literally, right? Yeah. It's one of their main things that makes them any kind of profit. That, and ironically, I always bring this up, insurance. Like, yeah, in Asia, they big with insurance. Like, that's a big thing to buy insurance from Sony. I don't understand how that is, but okay, fine, right? Like, so for Sony, this is important. This is why when Jim was removed, they put in one of their people, not a gaming guy, because all their gaming people were in PlayStation, and obviously they don't trust them. They think they're not doing what they need to do correctly. But meanwhile, we're hearing all this talk from the developers and all this stuff. All the development teams under Sony, right, are saying, we're starting to hear all these rumblings and rumors. Like, I don't know what more needs to happen before people realize that PlayStation really could be out of here at the end of this generation, no matter how many systems they're selling, because they're not selling the games. This is serious. We need them to stay around for the same way that Realist was saying that GameStop needs to stay around. It's that same reason. He's right about that, and it's the same thing. Like, when there's less competition, that's bad, right? So just like with GameStop, they're in a bad way, right? Yeah. It may not seem as bad, and I don't think it technically is, but it's on that path to being GameStop where everybody's gonna be apathetic and not care if they live or die. And it's important that they stay around. We need competition to keep the rest honest, to keep Microsoft honest, to keep Valve honest, to keep Nintendo not to be more dishonest, right? They're still selling Wii U games on the eShop for the full $60 on Switch that they were when they released them on the Wii U, okay? The system before the current one is about to be replaced early next year. Like, that's insane, right? But that just goes to show, like, these companies will do whatever if they're allowed to, and Nintendo gets a pass for everything, right? And we don't like what Sony does, and we talk about them all the time, we don't want them to die because we know what's going to happen to the rest of the industry, right?
No,
But
that'll piss me off
Sony needs to
because
open their eyes, bro.
my PlayStation will definitely be just a doorstop.
Yeah,
You know, can't be
and
having that.
and we don't want them to be sold to Apple because that would be worse because that's one of the few.
Oh
Well, the
man, you
company
think you're gonna
like
pay
to
for a
purchase
$500 console? That's gonna jump up to $700.
Exactly. And
'Cause it's
maybe Amazon, but it looks like Amazon is looking to do their own thing. Like they're
Amazon will
gonna-
put you on
they're gonna hold
Prime.
their
You
own
want
back.
you want a PS Plus? We'll put you on Prime.
Yeah. They'll make it, part of Prime. No, I'm sure that's what they'll do. They'll market a part of their business. It'll be Prime, right?
Yeah.
Microsoft has Game Pass. They got Prime, and that's how they would leverage it. But
Yeah.
it just goes to show, like, this is really scary. Really is scary. And I'm not gonna sit here and talk about the details. Like, bro, PlayStation could be out of here, right? Like, they may, on King David is right. At this rate, I don't see there being a PlayStation 6. I don't.
Crazy. That's crazy talk.
I don't.
Yeah.
There will be a PlayStation 6, but look, I keep complaining about Nintendo. Right? The only reason why everybody else drops the prices on their games is because they have to. Nintendo doesn't have to.
Yeah.
People are still buying Switches, right? Even to this day, they're selling millions per month,
Yeah.
right? And so when you
Even
buy
my
that
son
new
was telling me
Switch,
to buy
why?
a new Switch because he couldn't find the other one. Look at that.
But hold up.
When you
hold
buy
up.
when you
That's why I made
when
the
you
Wii
when you
U
when you
thing.
buy that when you buy that well,
The
when you
Wii
buy
U
that new
itself.
Switch, when you buy that new Switch, why'd you buy it? More than likely, you bought it for a Nintendo game, right? The only reason why, hell,
when I
even
bought that
Rockstar
Switch?
has to lower
Yeah.
their games to $14.99
Yeah, because
because the game starts the game starts to hit a level. Go ahead, Tech man.
Yeah, because I wanted to play Metroid. I wanted to play Mario Kart. I want to play the Super Smash Brothers. That's why
But
I
hold
bought
up,
the Switch.
as long you're not wrong either, but at the same time you are, because like, look at the example I gave. Games from the Wii U were still $60, and the Wii U wasn't selling, and Nintendo was in a
Yeah,
what is
but
it,
nobody had a Wii U.
nobody wanted to buy them, right?
I have
that's
one.
what I'm-
But
Okay,
there was only 14 million and some change other people that bought it. So those
Exactly.
games are just as good as being newly released.
Hey, talking about the
But
Wii U.
look at
Did you guys see that article where somebody bought a brand new Wii U like recently?
yeah. I saw that in box. Yeah, you'll find that from time to time.
I thought that was pretty funny.
But look at the example he gave. Like, they don't need to drop prices because Switches are selling. The Wii U wasn't selling. Their worst selling system ever.
Yeah.
They still didn't drop the price. My point is, I don't think there's a correlation between what sells and does not sell, and them dropping prices or not. That has nothing to do with
Crazy.
that.
You
That
crazy.
has
You
nothing
could get Immortals of Avian for $29.99. The hell you talking about?
Mm,
I'm talking about first party Nintendo games. You know it. You know it.
No.
And of
But
course,
we already know that Nintendo is outselling third party multiplats.
Yeah. About that.
And like they don't drop the price, right? The
But I
games are
just
still
gave you an
sick.
example
The
of
games are
Wii
still
U.
yeah, but the Wii U might as well not have even happened, right? The
Yeah.
way that the way they dumped the Wii U was criminal.
Mm.
Yeah,
Because I had a
Same way
Wii
my
U.
dumps, man. Criminal every day.
but
Like
that's exactly my point. They didn't drop the prices then, and they weren't selling for shit.
well, they weren't.
That's-
What's the? Why do they need to drop the price? Why would they
I'm
drop
not
the
saying
price
they
on the
need
Wii U?
to drop
To
the
sell
like,
price.
more,
because-
baby.
because- no,
Because they ain't selling
But no,
shit.
listen to why would they need to drop the price if they know that the only reason why people are there are to play a Nintendo game? Because Ubisoft had gone, everybody had pretty much left. So the only thing there were those games, and they re-released
And they
them with
weren't
the
selling
Switch.
either. And they
Nothing
weren't
was selling on the Wii U.
But that's
nothing
my
was selling
point.
on the Wii U.
I didn't even
bring up
touch
what
one.
sold and didn't
Mm.
sell has nothing to do with the fact that, like, people.
Come
that
on,
Nintendo
man.
didn't drop
Tears of the
prices.
Kingdom is $70, and Breath of the Wild is still $60 at
But-
Target.
All right.
Yeah, still,
All right.
yeah.
All right. What about the outrage of the price increase of the Series S in Brazil? Because that really pissed me off. I swear I was going to go to the embassy if we have one here in Dallas and march and try to get people united and say, we're not going to have this. Okay.
Oh, like Willis said earlier, like, we're not financial experts, so I don't know what the reasoning was, why it went up that high in Brazil. I can only imagine it's just, like
I was mad for my Brazilian brothers.
rate to some other wild. I have no idea, right? But as soon as they heard a little bit of hubbub, they quickly fixed it up. And the only
Because the people spoke, yo.
Yeah, the people spoke up. Indeed, they did. Just like when they did the whole Xbox Live thing. But at the same time, it's not that same type of situation, though. Like, there was mass outrage over the Xbox Live thing. There was outrage, not mass
that was
outrage.
mad outrage back then, too, man. I was part of that crew, too.
No, right. That was mass outrage. Right, indeed, right? But the Brazil thing wasn't mass outrage like that. It was just like,
I was trying to make it mass,
and it was mostly PlayStation fanboys, and you would get a couple of pony bots, and then some Xbox guys who were being objective about the situation were all. But look at the motivation between each, even though they're all saying the same thing.
We all united as one and got the price reversed.
Right, but at the same time, though, my point overall is these people were overhyping the situation for something that could have been exchange rates. I have no idea why. But the amount that they jacked up the price to in Brazil makes no freaking objective sense unless there had to be some kind of like exchange rate thing. I'm not the financial guy, just like Realist was saying before. He's more financially aware of the three of us, right? So Realist, before you put your opinion into the situation, how and why do you think this even happened in the first? I don't even understand.
Well, they don't. It's not, for one. It's not stable over there, right?
He's the man.
It's not stable over there. They have because Brazil, they view video games as non-essential luxury, so they have tariffs and taxes on all tech, not just games. But if you look at the PlayStation is $800. It's like the problem is they compare they're comparing the Series S to the PlayStation, right? And the Series S at that point would have been the same $100 less than it is here, based on the price that they were given. But that's why, I mean, all tech is more expensive there. It's not stable. It's just like I don't scoff at any of these companies for raising their prices in certain areas, right? Like it was a big deal about turkey, bro.
Oh man, we can't have that either, man. I'll get the turkey people around here in Dallas, man, march up at the city hall and be like, "Yo,
gobble."
Yo, Realist, you realize like the groups that I named in the order that I named them, right? Okay, first is the ponies, and it's the pony bots, like the Xbox guys out there, and then it was the Xbox guys who were being objective. Okay, so even though they're all saying the same thing, the motivation between them is all different, right? And we know how that goes. But it just goes to show, my point overall is, it's like they made a big thing over something that was admittedly like a WTF situation, right? But to just sit back and use your brain for more than 3 seconds and be like, nah, this is not your average situation. It's got to be more than them just being greedy, considering everything else that's been going on.
Yeah, but I'm still.
If they raise the price, it's for a reason, right? Like as
I know this reason,
we're talking about global. I just told you, they're paying $400 for games over there. That's how bad it is. They have to hit gray markets. Like it's a whole totally different economy over there.
Have to reach out to somebody
South Africa
out there.
too is bad.
It's a whole totally different economy over there. So like, as a business, it doesn't make the most sense to overcharge those that could afford it the least, right? And that's why the Series S, the outcry for the Series S, because it was like, man, this is our introduction to the next gen gaming, right? 350 US we can get into gaming, but still the exchange rates, taxes, and everything else, that all gets passed on to the consumer, right?
That.
I just take it personally when consumers think that businesses should give you something out of the kindness of their heart. And you ever hear that thing? If I do it for you, then I got to do it for everybody else. And nobody that runs any type of business or even control or is a steward of somebody else's business is going to subscribe to giving everybody something for nothing.
I'm going to start having to smuggle some Series S's down there, make some bank. You at a cheaper price.
Well,
than what they're doing at retail.
So okay, but then you look at the reals, and they're not worth as much as the USD. Greenbacks are worth way more. So it's like that's why sometimes you'll see because like the Lenovo Legion Go is not sold overseas, not sold in Europe, right?
Right.
But when it is for sale, they start complaining about why is it this much for America? Because it's
we're
here.
America.
Like, yeah, it's here. They're gonna ship it to you. They're gonna have to pay exchange rates, taxes for wherever you live.
The duties.
All that gets passed on to you. And that's why like the internet is good and bad. Like we should not be comparing. We should not be comparing what goes on over there to what goes on over here. Like I had this discussion with this guy. I said, hey man, he was a Canadian. I say, hey man, America is the leader of the free world. It's not the leader of the free world. I said, I bet your president agrees. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have.
What is this, a Canadian guy? Let's ask Punty.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, man, I don't care about what country you come from. Okay, I'm gonna answer this the way I do it anytime.
America.
No, a person from my family, right?
Oh.
I got people in Rome. I got family members all across the planet, right?
Word?
And yes, but often times, I'm gonna give you like the Roman example with the family members who were in Rome, who live in Rome, right? They come over, right? And I have guest house, and at the time I didn't have a tenant there, so they stayed in my guest house, right? There's a fridge and everything, right? Now in Europe, they have smaller fridges. This is what they explain to me, right? They go food shopping every day. Here in America, we have supermarkets and large refrigerators. And they try to explain to me that the way they do it is better than the way we crazy Americans do it. I know, because everybody loves to talk shit about America.
All day, every day.
All day, every day, right? But I said it to them like this. Number one, that wasn't an American thing. It was, I forget which one of the European countries that did it first, right? But it wasn't even an American thing. It was actually a European thing, right? Where you get a big refrigerator and then you go shopping once every couple of weeks and you just fill your refrigerator up instead of you going to the the shop every day to get your ingredients to cook, right? And you just keep everything in a little small refrigerator, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I said was, listen, I'll put it to you like this. I don't even know the title of whatever they call your president or prime minister or whatever like that, right? But Bush, Reagan, Obama. I don't even know what they call your leader, let alone his or her name. But mine. When shit
Arrogant
down,
American.
you're going to call my lead. But that's a fact, though. That's a fact, though. And they said exactly that I'm being arrogant. But I said it's true. It's true. I'm not being arrogant. I'm just being factual.
Arrogant American.
If some shit happened to Italy or Europe in general, who they calling first? The American president. That's the fact. But they want to talk all day, and you could hear the anger and the ignorance about it, like in their tone, right? But just with the refrigerator example alone, the more the more you realize, a lot of people just say stuff because they feel some kind of way because they're in my guest house chilling, and they complain that I have a large refrigerator because that's not what they're used to. But that's the mindset, right? Like, that's not what they're used to. They don't understand, and they start to say a lot of wild stuff, not knowing what they're talking about. But most Americans don't know the fact that the reason we have large refrigerators and we do what we do is actually a European thing from one of these European countries that we ourselves.
Yeah, see, man, you come here and you just learn something.
Yeah, you just learn, but people don't know, but they want to talk shit because
we talking about us.
But then it just goes to show, like, once they start to open their mouths to talk crap, you already know they're already being triggered. That's why they're choosing to speak on it in the first place, right? And that's the mindset. Like, if you're triggered enough to speak on it, acknowledge, number one, you've been triggered. That's why you're speaking on it.
Yeah, trigger, pump, trigger.
It's that simple. But that's the way all this stuff is going down now. Like, a lot of people
is going down. Be in the club.
Just want to talk a lot about Sony situation, Microsoft, but never want to make it objective. But even with this thing with Brazil, like, how many people really just sat back and thought, nah, this is weird. Why would they jump the price this much in Brazil they know what the news and the optics is gonna be about it to just do it. It wasn't the Xbox Live thing where at least they must have realized that the situation was gonna be bad. Maybe they didn't realize it was gonna be that bad that what they had to change their minds the same day, right? Because this didn't get fixed the same day. I don't think. I think it got fixed the next day, right? But this is not the same level of situation. It's the same type of situation. It's just the levels are different. But it's really about the optics and these people who made a big deal of it in the first place. Yes, it was a newsworthy thing, and gamers who follow the gaming news should have been talking about it. But to make a big hubbub and try to portray like it's Microsoft being evil, whatever, get the F out of here, man.
Yeah.
How long has this generation been on that we should see that that's not what's going on? If anybody's being a bad guy in this industry, it's Sony, and then to a lesser extent Nintendo, and it's Microsoft who's trying everything and then some to be the nice guy all the time. PlayStation still freaking has Call of Duty. You know damn well if it was Sony who bought ABK, there would be no Call of Duty on Xbox, right? And they would take the financial loss, to do it, right? Even though, when it's Microsoft's turn, everybody want to talk about it. Oh, they still got to keep it there, or they're going to lose a lot of money. Or like Microsoft really needs all that money. They don't need it, but they're going to take it because it's business and right? Yeah. But everybody expects that Sony would have not did the same for Xbox. They would have made that game fully exclusive to PlayStation. And everybody
would have definitely tried.
They definitely would have tried.
And they wouldn't have offered. They wouldn't have offered. Started with a 3-year offer either.
Man, Microsoft saying and say, anywhere you meet me, Garrett to go.
Well, I mean, the same rules apply. Like, the game is too impactful to take away from a platform. They would have to deal with the same things that Microsoft dealt with. But another thing, when it comes to these consoles and what they cost, people are going to have to understand it's a new era. The Wii showed PlayStation and Xbox that the market will support not dropping the prices on your hardware, at least not in the way that they used to drop it, right? Because if the Series S came out at $350, right? It's $350. They're discontinuing the $300 model. But if things went the way that they used to go, back at this point in time, we'll be paying $1.99 for Series S's, right? $249 regular price. Like, they're not gonna do that anymore. They're gonna start selling these things for profit. Nintendo showed those other two that they don't have to take those losses, because see, they came in and do what Nintendo used to do. Nintendo used to drop the price on their console, but see, that was when Nintendo was growing gaming. Now I believe Nintendo hit just about. I mean, the gaming hit right about critical mass. People are not gonna go buy consoles, right? They'll go buy a computer before they buy consoles. These new people, they'll buy a $1,500 cell phone before they go buy a $600 console. This is what they're doing now. Yep. So they're gonna have to start to understand that, man, these companies are going to adjust these prices. Microsoft already said that they were going to be adjusting prices. PlayStation did it already. They're not going to keep selling these consoles at a loss. And if you so happen to be living in an area where the economy is unstable, where they have to deal with high-end piracy, then the end user is going to pay for that. It's just like when I was about to get laid off from oil field, I was a pipeline inspector. They told me, hey, things are getting bad. We're cutting hours. I went to get a job at Pizza Hut. They hired me on the spot. I enjoyed working at Pizza Hut because I knew I didn't have to. But what I learned is when you order a delivery, right, there's a delivery fee. And if you read the receipt, or if you read the internet when you make an online order, it says that the delivery fee is not a tip.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I pick up now.
Yeah. Right. So I say, okay, so if it's not a tip, why are you charging me a delivery fee and then you're expecting me to tip? The delivery fee covers everybody who calls in an order and cancels.
Wait, say that
That's
again?
what I was told when I worked. Again? If you call in an order, they're going to make it, and it costs money, right?
Yeah.
But if you cancel it, they're going to say, okay, they're not going to charge you. But the delivery fee covers those things.
Real
quick, I said all that to say that no matter what goes on, the economy, piracy, the end user is always going to be the ones to pay. You got PC people that
you're
complain about the Nuvo, right? The Nuvo is now on the Switch, right? But the Nuvo is known to tank performance. Us people that are paying the price for those who steal the games.
Right.
The end user is always going to pay for the company's losses. How else are they going to recover? This is why the prices of things are not going to go down the way we've seen in the past. They're going to stay stagnant, or they're going to increase. But
Yep.
all right, I'm done on that.
No, that's exactly what you. I was just gonna add. I feel that the expectations that people have, and then they sit there and then they mention stuff that has nothing to do with the actual, topic at hand, and say, "But we had this and that back then." This is not back then. This is now, right? And at least, and I still think like Sony really messed up with what they've been doing with their consoles lately in terms of stuff. But at least you would say they upped the terabyte, the SSD that's built into the system from the 800 and change that it was to the full terabyte that it should have been off rip, right?
Going down.
Situations like
The
that.
the 800 that they always claimed is what you'll have now.
Right. Exactly. So, but yeah. Thanks for adding that because that's usually a snarky joke that I would have made, but I just didn't think
because it says 800 on the box, but you get to play with only 600, 640.
Right. Yeah, six something. It's 667. But my point is, it's like all this stuff gets worse and worse over time in certain aspects, but like you have to be cognizant of what things are, and there's less knowledge. And that was the point you were making earlier about going to the store and stuff. This is how people learn. But it's sad, and I've said this many times before, like we have a supercomputer in our pockets. People compete to have the newest Model 1 just so they can floss on top of other people, right? It's connected to a satellite or radio microwave signals, right? To all compiled knowledge that we of a species has is accessible to us. And people are dumber than freaking ever.
For real.
In terms of all aspects of life. And being able to buy stuff,
meet me at
what
the club.
they're buying.
It's going down.
Right? But that's what it is. Right? So it's like I'm there's a point where I stop giving a crap for people who are just getting, run over by the world. It's your own fault. You sit there and you do not, and you complain about the wrong things, and then you sit around. It's like people are dumber than ever, and you see it on social media, right? You see,
you see the commercials for TikTok alone.
Oh, I don't even. There's a commercial for dear God, but
yes.
Bro, the emergency thing from last month, a week or two ago, like a couple weeks ago, right? The rumor that was going around. People were like, "Oh, all the people who got the shot, now gonna turn this up." People were actually saying this shit. I'm like, holy crap! That's just one example of people being immeasurably stupid, and it's more common now than everything.
Especially
it's ironic that the internet
fans of that team in Arlington. Dumb.
But it just goes to show, like, if you don't know, the information is out there for you, to get educated so you can make a better decision.
That's right.
But if you choose not to do it, that's on you. I'm tired of shedding tears.
It's on you, bro.
Because us here, right, and the podcast that we frequent and we be in the chats and whatever, like, the information is put out there for everybody to find out. And if you're spending your time to listen to a podcast on all these things and you don't absorb any kind of knowledge from it, that's your own fault, bro. That's your own fault when you get robbed left and right by these retailers and all these outlets for stuff. I don't have any sympathy for you, bro. Like,
you know who I don't have sympathy for? Is fans of that team that play at Arlington.
Yeah, but I guarantee
they don't need your sympathy. You need sympathy.
Yep.
I need a hug right now.
This is why you
need a hug.
We are the champions, my friend. That's what I make sure somebody calls me, and that will be my ringtone, and I'll make sure somebody calls me every time I walk around you.
All right. So one thing about going to that ballpark, the ballpark is beautiful inside. The outside is horrendous, ugly. It looks like a freaking Lowe's, right? It's nasty outside. Right. But the inside looks really nice. Anyways, And this has been bugging me ever since I went to my first Arlington team game, right? And they've been doing it since forever that I can remember, right? When they hit a home run, they play the natural theme song, right? Da, 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 whatever that thing is. It's got so worn out. I'm like, please play something else. Play something. It's so worn out. You
need to come back to Houston, and you won't have to be a hater.
Nah, man, they got fireworks and they got choo choo the train and everything going. It's awesome. They don't got some lame. They got the piggyback off a movie to play some the natural home run theme song. I'm like, ugh.
Hold up, the Rangers have a train too.
No, they don't. It's Houston does the Houston one.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. You need to come back to Houston so you don't have to be a hater.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I'm going down tomorrow. I'll be down there tomorrow for the weekend.
How often you come to Houston?
And then the whole Creed thing. I never understood where that came from. And I think that was the dumbest thing ever. Like, open arms and higher base. It's like, what? How does that relate to anything? Right? But it's such a Ranger fan thing to do anyways. Because here's the thing. This is because I know the history and I've been living here for that long. Is that when they first went to 2010 and 2011 World Series, the whole big thing was that stupid antler shit. Right? I never understood that. Right? The players would get on base and they will do something on like steal the base. Here's Josh Hamilton. I'm like, what is that? Who are you supposed to scare? You look ridiculous, right? And then after that year, they started doing the whole claw shit. And they put this huge arm on their t-shirts going like this, a claw. Right? It was like the dumbest thing ever. I don't know what it was. I don't know how they got that. So anytime again, they get, you know how some players they do this when they do some hand signals to kind of celebrate the hit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they do the whole claw thing. They're like, what are you doing? I was like, what? It's like, what are you doing? They're doing the claw. And of course they made it hurt. Oh my God, the t-shirts were nasty because I see them at Walmart all the time. All it is a big forearm. This is all it was, like this. If you can see me on camera, that's all it was. I never understood it. And then the whole antler thing was stupid too. And they had, and here's the thing.
I see.
Here's the thing. They had the blue t-shirt with a deer on it, right? The head of a deer, and then a person's hand being the antlers. Dude, it was the grossest thing ever. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
You're a hate.
No, I'm watching you.
Right. This is on their t-shirt. This with human hands and an actual deer in the middle.
That's weird.
That was nasty. So I don't know
weird.
if they're trying to find an identity or something, because they just don't have one, right? You
sound so salty right now. You sound like
hater.
Okay. To bring this back to gaming, right? Real quick.
Yeah.
So there's this pony by the name of Black Bond, right? I heard his name before. I've never seen what he looked like, right? Now I want.
He looked like your little cousin.
He looked this little weirdo with the braids, and then I'm seeing one of his videos, and I'm a fan of Gundam, right? But this dude is trying to floss and say like the Xbox are poor and have no games, when clearly we're starting to see the facts are starting to say it's really ponies are poor and literally are starting to have no games. But anyway, put that aside, right? He's talking about all the stuff that he has in his house and how it's so expensive, right? And then you see his dirty kitchen in the background, and then he starts talking about his Gundam figurines, and he starts naming the model numbers off the top of his head. Now I'm a fan of the series, right?
Yeah.
I don't own any. I have a couple DVDs, right? I've played a couple of the games, even import games, right? I'm a fan of the series. I've watched it, right? But I don't own any of the toys, and even if I did, I'm not gonna brag about them as some flex to say that other people are poor. Like this dude, and he said it was a straight voice and tone, and looked in the camera. I'm like, yo, the mindset
here it is.
of these people.
I know you guys can see it through Discord. Here it is. That was their t-shirt for a couple of years. Like I didn't understand what this whole exactly. What is it supposed to mean?
Do you understand what it means?
No.
You You should put that on the screen. For
This was from
everybody.
10 years ago. I have no idea what this is. Are they supposed to be clawing back from something? I have no idea. Are they trying to scratch your face? I have no idea.
I don't. That is weird. But
mess with the deer, you get the antlers.
Yeah.
it just goes to show. It just goes.
Is that what it is? You mess with the deer, you get the. Oh, I'm really scared of a freaking deer.
No, it's not. No, it's not that. You were triggered enough to talk about it because it's so weird.
It is weird.
Because it's like.
How is that not
like,
weird?
Yeah, that is a W2F. Like, what is that? That makes no sense.
No,
You mess
it
with the
doesn't.
deer, you get the horns. You get the horns.
I guess. I mean, I would have used like a bull or something,
bro.
not a deer. Yeah.
I don't know.
But this was the hot
It's
item.
painting you It's painting you deeply that the Rangers are World Series champions.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Clearly.
It does.
Clearly.
I'm not even low key about it. I'm like, it does. I don't like it. Right. I'm a salty salty Astros fan. Yes.
I don't. Listen, bro. I don't knock you. I get it.
Yeah.
That's your team, and you've explained why you gotta deal with it. And this did trigger you to speak on it.
We need to get
chemo
Chemo on this and talk about it next
That's
week.
a stupid shirt.
We need
That is
Chemo
a
on
stupid
this.
Shirt. Yeah.
I need to hear from
That is a
Chemo
stupid
next week.
Shirt. I'm not gonna lie. It really is a stupid looking shirt.
It is, dude.
I get it now.
Kids were wearing
But
it. All right.
I had to think.
I can't believe parents bought that for their kids. Right.
Of course.
And
they're
even
Rangers fans,
today,
obviously.
people are like, "Hey, man, let's bring it back." Like, no, please do not bring that back.
Oh, okay. So one last thing I want to talk about real quick.
All
So I have it and Realist have it. You didn't get the Quest 3, right?
No, I'm not going to.
Okay. So the Quest 3 for me, right? Just to sum up real quick, right? It's sharper. It is better balanced in terms of the weight because of the pancake lenses. So the body of the thing, it doesn't stick out as far away from your face.
Yeah.
And so the weight is like better balanced on your head, even though ever so slightly heavier. It's definitely sharper. The field of view is better. It's faster. Like the pass throughs in color, so you can have like apps and stuff in the real world.
Yeah.
Right. Or like they show on the Apple Pro thing, like that. Right. Very clear, very sharp. I'm very happy with it. But what I'm starting to realize that the smart move that they made was number one, they're keeping the Quest 2 around at $299, and the updates that they have been giving the Quest line this whole time. It's got hand track and all this other stuff that developed, over the 3 years it's been out. But one of the most recent updates they did was they gave it a performance boost where they're running the chip faster, right? And so, like, it bridged the gap of performance. So the Quest 3 is a better looking and performing version of the Quest 2. You don't need to get one if you already have one and you're happy with it.
Yeah.
But if you're into it and you appreciate the improvements, you'll see it. It's kind of like the Series S and the Series X, right? You could have just moved up to the Series S because you don't have a 4K TV and you're really not into resolutions like that. You just want to play a game and it's not, that important to you, right? Or if you're the type you get the Series X, it's the same. Oh, that's going on with the Quest now. They got the Quest 2 and 3, and it's way better. But unless you're heavy into it like that, I would say hold back for now. But there's a lot of software that's right around the corner now. And it's funny how all the reviewers were saying, there's really no software that's taking advantage. And now a couple weeks after release, now there's lots of software right around the corner. And now every YouTuber who follows the situation is talking about it now. But they weren't saying that a month ago. Like, they didn't know a month ago that a bunch of games were right around the corner.
Yeah.
That just goes to show, like, yeah, the speakers are way better now. The built-in speakers are so much better that you don't need any headphones or anything like that. Like, I bought the 20th anniversary Xbox headphones to go with the last Quest, to use as headphones. But this time, I don't even need that at all. It sounds way better, way louder. There's like bass in it. It's just clearer, sharper. Everything about it is better. And even, being able to see the real world in color now with the depth perception and all that, is just way better. And it just makes me feel like, God damn it, Microsoft, you just need to make compatible with your platform as the VR headset of the Xbox, right? And then,
but it is in December,
right? Because of the cloud. But it's not in terms of like what it is with the PSVR, where they can make an Xbox game that could support the VR, and you can just use your Quest as the VR, right? They're not doing that. I hope that happens soon. Because Microsoft and Facebook have always been close. I feel that should happen. that's the best solution, I think, to that. That way, Microsoft doesn't have to invest a lot into it, right? And developers doesn't need that much in terms of like support to get a VR game up and running. There's lots of information out there. Unity is a major engine for VR. It's particularly easy on Unity's. It's unfortunate that whole situation happened recently. Although that's going to iron out. But like, I'm really happy with it. But at the same time, I could say if you're not into VR, you ain't got to worry about it. The old Quest is still there. For $299 and give you 99% of the same thing, or 90% of the same thing. But I'm very happy with the purchase. I just wish it was eye tracking. I would pay for a Quest 3 Pro, right? Where it had everything that the Pro had, the eye tracking, all that other stuff. It was all in one with the battery and all of that. Where it just and you'd have to pay for a head strap, because the head strap that's packaged in it is horrible. It's better than the last one. But it's still a piece of crap. It's better than the last one though. It is.
The last one's trash. Still, I even trashed it too.
Yeah, the last one was trash, but this one is better. But yeah, get yourself a head strap. You're not gonna. Yeah. But here's a tip though: if you're having issues with the head strap that's packaged in with it, you take yourself a baseball cap, you flip it backwards, you put it on your dome, and then you put the VR headset on, and it fixes the situation with the strap on your ears and all of that, and it just. But yeah,
I'm not against the backward cap.
Yeah, bro. And when you're watching movies and stuff, it's just like way better for all that other kind of stuff. Now, is it gonna blow up and who knows? I think it'll do about as well as Second Quest did.
Yeah.
At best, which I don't even expect that, but
it's a lot of money.
That was my experience.
It is.
It's a lot of money. But if you're not into it, I can see a lot of people just getting the old Quest, if anything, right? It's still up there in terms of performance and everything. It's still a solid headset. So, and definitely they're going to support it much longer than they supported the first Quest after the second one was released, especially because of that software update, like I said in the beginning, that they released, where it increased the performance and stuff. So there's that. But yeah, Realist, what did you think of yours? Because you had yours since day one. I only just got mine last week on my birthday.
What?
I'm mad.
Oh?
Because I went from the Rift. There's a lot of my games that I can't play on the Quest 3. I contacted Oculus Quest support or Meta support or whatever, and they were just like, "So what? You're assed out," So
wait, what?
Yeah, but
Rift? Oh, well, Rift games are PC games. Those work on the Quest still.
Not all of them.
PC, but you have to plug them into the PC. You can't use the Quest version. You have to use the PC.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. What if I want to get rid of my Rift? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but okay, or I can just keep my Rift and play all my damn games. But
you can do that with the Quest with a PC. Like you plug the Quest into a PC, and then all those games there, because they're on your account. It's just like when you bought on the Series X, right? Everything you had with the Xbox One was still there in your account, and they played on the Series X.
Yeah.
Same thing with that. I just don't.
Well, there's certain games that there are Quest versions. That's the only. Those are the only games that I called about. Once I go through my list, I go through the Quest store and see if they are selling the same game, like Super Lucky's Tale for one. Like Answer 2. Like there's a few of them. Like Creed was. And the other boxing game was. But hey, other than that, I ain't gonna lie. I played this game. I think it was called something Zero Generation or something like that.
That sounds
bro, Tech. It's like it's okay. Everything is a first person shooter, right? Okay, it's a first person shooter in VR, and the way that they let you move around, they kind of give you tunnel vision, right? It like blacks out everything around you and gives you like a fixed point to look at. So it doesn't give you the motion sickness. So you're running around, dude. I got a chicken dinner, right? The game is basically PUBG in VR.
Nice.
bro, and it's free to play.
Oh,
Oh, dude, the game I was playing recently, I'd asked you about. Did you try it out?
What?
Miracle
As-
Pool.
Who?
Miracle Pool. It's a pool game.
Like the pool game? No, I didn't. I was playing the Zero game, and then there's another first person shooter where it's like Halo. It wants to be Halo, right?
Don't want to be
but
Halo. Yeah, I think I heard about this.
but you teleport and you ride around on rails. That's how that's the way you really move around. So you're riding around on rails, shooting. I mean, you can teleport around, but the rails are the way that you really want to move around, the faster way to move around. Man, that game was fun too, but it wasn't that populated. And the people that I was playing with, once we got ahead, they just kind of just stood around, started playing with each other. They wouldn't come out. They wouldn't come out of the safe room.
Man, don't get punty excited.
Yeah, but but
Pause.
But no, it's just those games that I really wanted to play them, or I never got around to play them because Oculus used to have some nice sales. But
Yes.
I also subscribe to their gold thing. I mean, you get 6 months free.
Right, you got the top model, so you got that with it. But did you pay more to have like a year's worth or something?
You didn't get it for free because you got a 128?
Yeah, I got the 128.
So I'm saying you didn't get it for free? I mean, you didn't
No,
get the
I didn't.
service?
No, you have to get the top model to get that.
That's whack.
But I
But
did
anyway,
get that game, but I did get that game as what you call Rat.
So did you get did you get that Norse game, the God of War VR?
Yeah, that's the one I
It's-
just sent
it's-
you. Sure Wrath or something too.
Yeah.
Or
So
whatever?
did you get that free?
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, everybody gets
Okay,
that. Who
well,
buys
that's
it in
good.
the launch period. Yeah,
Because that's a $60 game. I've never paid
Yeah.
$60 for a VR game.
it's like 100 and something gigs to download it. It wasn't little either on PC. It's a full-fledged game apparently.
Gonna get
So it's out?
punty excited again.
Release?
Well, it's up for download. I didn't launch it. I don't know if I can launch it or not, but because I was looking because I very first because apparently when you first launch the system, whatever, it's supposed to offer it to to get it for free, and that didn't happen.
Kind of like the Halo thing with the Xbox.
Right, so I had to hop in there to find it. It's called Asgard's Wrath 2, right? So it wasn't working on whatever reason, so I had to go and find this method to get the thing to trigger to offer me the game. And so it did that instead, and it offered me the game, and then I started downloading with like 100 and something gigs. So I downloaded it, I think yesterday. Hold on, I'm gonna check and see Asgard's Wrath. How big? 142.77 gigabytes. So
How the hell you gonna play? How you gonna play that with 128?
it's the PC version I downloaded.
Oh, to play on what? It's okay. You got stuff to the PC.
Right, but to get the
But-
Quest version, I would have to download it on the Quest itself. But yeah,
The main selling point for me, the main selling point for me was wireless.
Right.
So like I didn't even consider it for a PC, right? But I still want to beat Alex. I bought that RPG for my son that he didn't ever ask to play again, and I'm gonna look on I have to look on Steam because I bought it on Steam. It looks like, man, it's almost like freaking
buns?
what I say Oblivion in VR. Hell no. I mean, it looks great. And then there's another bro. There's so much Oculus content coming out or Meta content coming out.
right.
Like it makes you want to hang on to it and just wait it out. But the battery life is buns. The
Yeah.
battery life is ass cheeks.
It's equally buns as it was before. It's technically slightly better. You'll get like another 20 minutes longer than the last quest, right? But it's
Sweaty
easy.
ass cheeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
swampy
yeah.
cheeks.
Bro,
I mean, because in hindsight, I should probably take my charging thing back and go get the battery pack for the back of it.
yeah.
Texas
swamp-
like I told
swamp
you.
ass.
Oh, you mean
All
the
that
extract or
ass.
whatever with the battery in it? Oh, you mean the Bobo
Yeah.
VR thing where it has the replaceable batteries?
Yeah, it's a battery pack goes on the back of it. and it plugs directly into it. Uses the USB. Cause bro, I'm basically wired, man. When I play those shooting games, those two games. I mean, they're cool, bro. They're cool, but they
Okay.
die. I guess it's
So
like
here's a
okay,
funny
I
thing
need a
that happened to
brainwave.
me. Here's a funny thing that happened to me. So there's this app. It's called Virtual Desktop, right? It allows you to wirelessly connect your Quest to your
Oh
PC
yeah,
without the
they
wire.
want to charge me
Because they're-
$19 again.
no, then you're doing something wrong. I
Yeah.
guarantee you're doing something wrong.
No, because
Sucker
it's a
MC.
it's a quest. It's because it's a quest version. Is what she told me. Because I can do it on my Rift. I paid for it already.
Well, okay. Well, the Rift one is the one that's in Steam. Like I said, talking about the one on the Quest. That's different than what you.
I bought it. I bought it from the Oculus store,
Okay.
bro.
But just like slow down. Just stop. Listen to me. You did this last time, and you ended up going in a direction that made
No,
me say what I'm saying.
because you keep saying you're trying to tell me I'm doing something wrong. I bought it from the Oculus store.
But you don't
That's
know
not
what I'm
Steam.
talking. Okay, listen. There's
Man,
two
just
versions
listen
of
up, yo.
virtual desktop. There's one that's for it connects the Quest right to the PC across the Wi-Fi, right? So you don't have to plug it in to use it as a VR headset for the PC. You could use it wirelessly, right? There's also
Right.
a desktop version. I think they also sell it on Steam as well. That's the one you have, where it allows you to use it where you plug it in, so you could use it on your Rift. You notice Rift, not Quest.
Basically what it allows, what I got it for, is so that I can play my Steam games on my Rift because
Right,
they don't work together. Steam plays well with Facebook, but Facebook doesn't play well with Steam. Like Steam will allow Steam makes ways. Let me say it a better way. Steam makes ways for you to use. Like if you're on Steam, it'll configure it for the Oculus
Yeah.
Rift,
Yes.
right? But
Yeah.
Facebook won't do that. Facebook
But-
won't do that for your Steam content.
Right. So okay, this is what I'm saying to you. So basically, you have the headset. You have the Rift. Okay, so for everybody listening, he's talking about the headset that you have to plug in. It's made for the PC. It's not a standalone headset itself. The Quest line is a standalone headset. It has like an Android in. It got a processor and everything. You don't need a computer or anything, right, to use it as
Right.
a VR headset. It's all by itself, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you can plug it in with a wire, or you can use AirLink, which is free, right? But they copied an app called Virtual Desktop for $10. I bought this app, right? For $10 when I got the Quest 2. I bought it before my Quest 2 even reached my house, right? Because I knew.
Oh, it's $19.99 now.
Well,
Oh man, they raised the price
okay.
inflation, baby.
So the reason I bring this up is I had this app even before I got the headset the last time, right? So I use this app to wirelessly connect to my PC. It's a great
Much
app.
for
It makes
this.
things way easier. As soon as you launch this app, right, or you have this little app that runs in your PC, it connects to it. It instantly sees your PC. You're connecting everything. You can launch Steam VR. There's a button right there to do it. You could change your environments that you're in while you're doing it, but you could access your PC and thus your game. You could be wireless with that app. There's a version of it on Steam, and I assume he bought it on the Facebook store back when it was Oculus, right? For his Rift.
Yeah, because they made me transfer everything or lose all my content. So now
Right. But
I'm on Meta.
But the virtual desktop that I'm talking about, the one you have, are two different apps, right? But
Well, they're both called virtual desktop. Is what I'm
Right.
saying. Like you're saying, because I don't remember paying $19.99 for the one I have, but I bought it from the Rift store, and then the one that they have on the Oculus Quest 3 is $19.99, which allows you to do all that stuff wirelessly that you're talking about.
Right. So you have to beware when you're looking at the games that you were talking about. It's what I was saying before. You were talking about the games, you can't access your games anymore. Just about every game you ever had for them should be fine. But the issue is that you had a preference of being able to run the Quest versions of these games, and apparently a lot of them don't have Quest versions. They only have PC versions, so thus you have to plug it in or use virtual desktop. Now, the reason I brought all this up wasn't even for any of that. But now we have that established, right? I just want to say, really quick, that I already had virtual desktop, and there was this other video player app. It's called Gizmo VR or something like that, right? I was about to buy it, right? Right before I ordered my Quest, because it's a video player app, right? And it plays all the formats and everything, right? And it's really good on the Quest, right? But just before I was about to buy it, because I ordered the Quest and it was on the way from Amazon or whatever. I don't know what happened. I started using the Oculus app, seeing all the friend devices, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, they send me a coupon. That's enough for the app itself. And I remember that's the same thing that happened to me with Virtual Desktop. I ordered an Oculus Rift, no, a Quest from Amazon. And before it even reached my house, I had been looking on their website about Virtual Desktop to see the price. They sent me a coupon and it took $10 off the price. I did pay $20, but half the cost was covered by the receipt. Not the receipt, the coupon, I'm saying, right? And they sent me a coupon as if they knew that I wanted to buy this app.
It's like they knew,
And
right?
all I did,
Bunch of jerks.
as if they knew, and they jerks, they gave me a coupon.
They're spying on you.
Ended up costing me $10, and in terms of Gizmo, it was $3, I think, and change or whatever. But like, it's like they're watching me or whatever to give me coupons.
Yeah, they're spying on you.
I've had almost no issue, right? But sometimes people have issues. It was like what I was saying about the ROG Ally and dudes buying it, open box. More times than not, it's not an actual issue with the thing. It's just like you don't know what's going on, and sometimes there's a version here and a version there. So more than likely, a lot of the games that you had on PC, right, and they don't have a Quest version, and so you have to use it on PC. But I suggest to you, Virtual Desktop. It's the shit because you could use the wired version that's built into the Quest, where you just plug in the wire, right, into your PC. But if you want the freedom,
is that another wire that I need to buy?
right? But see, the thing about that is,
No, I'm asking, is it C to C or I need to buy some type of video connector?
it's just a USB cable. It's just a USB cable.
C, what I'm saying, C to C?
It could
Well,
be C to
you
A. It doesn't
gotta
matter.
be careful because when my son was into his current headset and wanted to play Roblox, we had to use a specific USB to C cable that can handle the bandwidth. I couldn't.
It's not just the cable. See, on the cable, of course, you gotta get a good cable that's good. But it's also the connector on your computer. 'Cause some people will use like the slow connector or the connector that's on the front of their PC.
Yes.
And that's important too. So you have to have a good cable, of course. But sometimes even if you have a good cable and you're thinking like C to C, it was, and this is why I paused when you asked me if it's C to C. It could be C on one side, for the Quest, because the Quest is C, and then the other side is A, and that's fine as long as the port it plugs into on the PC side, it's a fast connection. Now, of course, if it's USB-C, it's more likely to be the fast one, but still pay attention to that.
Yeah.
Because with the Quest, if you plug it in, it works great. It's high speed because it's going across the cable. That's fine. But
Hey, Sick.
Yeah.
What if the new Xbox that has the USB-C on it is compatible with it? Would that be cool for you?
Awesome. That would be awesome. It's fine if the cable's plugged in, because even though I use Virtual Desktop, I never unplug my Quest because I'm right in front of my PC anyway, right? I'm just using the cable to keep my headset powered. But what I'm trying to say is with Virtual Desktop, as soon as you launch it, it's way better than AirLink that's built in the Quest. That was their clone of Virtual Desktop. Like the only reason the Quest even has that wireless access to the PC is because they saw Virtual Desktop. They even removed it off the store real quick, for like a couple weeks, right? Because they wanted everybody to use AirLink instead, and the user base revolted against them.
Man, I could never get AirLink to work
and they brought it back. And AirLink sucks ass even. Virtual Desktop is way better than AirLink. Even when AirLink is working. Now, if you use QuestLink, which is when you plug it in wired, it's fine. It's great. But even then, Virtual Desktop is still better wireless than it is wired because it gives you more features and options. It's messed up now. I bought the Steam version, and this is why I know the difference between them, expecting that if I bought the Steam version, it would give me the ability to use a Virtual Desktop plugged in, right? So then bandwidth isn't an issue with the Wi-Fi, right? But it doesn't work like that. It only works with the Rift. And I've had it long enough, I can't get my money back on Steam, even though it's $5. It's just the principle of it. I bought the wrong thing. I wish I could take it back. But yeah, Virtual Desktop. Look it up. You might even have a like a coupon from them, because if I was looking all over the Oculus app and all of a sudden I got an email for a coupon, right? And it covered half the cost of the app for me, hey man, maybe they'll do the same thing for you.
So
Just
so
look into it.
so sick. You just sit in front of your computer. You don't get up and go
Oh,
do
of course.
the
Oh, of
AR.
course. Oh, of course. I do that in my basement where there's way more room.
Yeah,
But
but
yeah,
like,
oh,
hey,
it's awesome.
Tech, it automatically, since there's a camera, it automatically
A depth sensor.
finds your play area for you.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything. You just look around and it scans everything, and boom, it's good to go.
Yep, but like, yeah, I'm gonna keep playing with it, man. I'm gonna keep playing with it. But hey, I didn't say anything about PlayStation. Look, like earlier, yeah, I think you
Oh
took
yeah.
over. But like, look, PlayStation, they're at a point. Look, y'all know how I feel about Jimmy, man. That's my boy, right? I think they're doing Jimmy wrong. They're not seeing this thing through. Jimmy sees it, right? Sean Layden saw it already,
Have you
right?
called him lately?
Jimmy,
Check on him.
Jimmy probably got the idea from Sean Layden, right?
Probably. You're right. That makes sense.
They're gonna have to do something different because now their weaknesses are being exposed. When it comes to them, you said it several times today.
Time to hit that critical spot, man.
I said what?
Okay, well, you said it several times today. That you know they're in trouble. They're not selling enough software because when everything else fails, you should be able to depend on you.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
PlayStation has its fan base, user base has proven that they do not depend on PlayStation, and PlayStation can't depend on themselves to be successful. They didn't need to go so heavy on the live service. They didn't need to go so heavy. But since they did, they need to at least see it through. And then now that all this comes out about Bungie, how upset would you be if you were one of the top dogs at Naughty Dog, and this is the same group of people who told you your game can't cut the mustard, and their game's not cutting the mustard?
Well, that's why
You see
the
what I'm
rumor
saying?
now is. Well, that's why the rumor now is all these development teams are really mad at Sony, and a lot of them are threatening to leave. And apparently, they can do that. Like even though like Sony owns them or whatever.
Well, I
deal is
I
with
don't
them.
know how true it is, but they say Fire Sprite's trying to get away.
Yeah, so I bet you that's not the only one, or maybe at least that was why, a lot of the people in the press were even talking about this in the first place, that they could leave, or at least some of them could leave, like because nobody even considered that was ever a thing for any of these publishers that were owned by, a platform maker, that they even had the option, to be.
Well,
nobody considered that.
Let's see why. But remember, we always talk about how Insomniac got a sweetheart deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because maybe they didn't, because we always thought Microsoft. Legal says he always knew, but I don't know. I don't know. I think I'm gonna call Cap. But look,
Okay.
we always thought that Microsoft owned Bungie,
Yeah.
right? And then we find out, it was a 10-year deal, and they it's basically like a record deal. You got to make 5 albums, and then that fourth album gonna be a greatest hits. It's kind of seems like what happened with Bungie, right?
Ooh, yeah.
So Bungie had a way out, because if you remember, Bungie was supposed to be with Activision way longer than they were, but they found a way out, and they found a way out. You look at, they spent like what, $250 million on Insomniac, and now they're riding them like Seattle Sloop.
Yeah, so
But I
this
think
is
that
something I forgot. And this is something I forgot that I realized the other day, and I must have forgotten again because I'm just now remembering. Yo,
You getting
maybe
old.
Bungie wasn't all that to begin with, because, think about this, okay? Because what I'm gonna say, I think, is true overall. When it comes to Microsoft and the games industry, Microsoft has been the nice guy the whole time.
Yes.
Straight simp, right? They've been nice in ways no other platform maker has ever been. Okay, forget the example I made with Call of Duty, where if it was Sony here who bought ABK, we know for sure that Call of Duty would have been exclusive to PlayStation and it would have been on Xbox anymore. We already know that, right? But that's just one example of stuff that Microsoft would never do. The rest of the industry do, right? They're naive in that way, right?
Well, Microsoft isn't naive. Microsoft is Microsoft is a $2.5 trillion company, and they're doing things that Apple has established that they're not going to be nice. But Apple is putting themselves in a position where they're going to have to start acting like Microsoft. Microsoft has already been on the bad side of regulators. So they have to go
No,
above and
I'm not
beyond to
even-
seem like they're not trying to be anti-competitive. Go ahead.
No, I get that that's a part of it too, but my point is overall with Bungie, because remember, all along when Microsoft and we thought they owned them and it wasn't, and we just thought they owned them. We didn't know it was a deal for 10 years or whatever, right? We always thought Microsoft and Bungie were like ham and eggs, you know?
Whoa.
Like they,
Yeah.
peanut butter and jelly, right? Like they work together. You know what I'm
Pancakes
saying?
and bacon.
Everybody's cool, right? But now I'm starting to think first with Activision, right? Now with Sony. Maybe the Emperor's never been wearing any clothes. See, Microsoft is the quote unquote nice one. They will let you want to go? Okay, fine. You get our blessings. You're cool. You can have your IP, whatever. Okay, go ahead, right? And realistic is right to an extent that like they won't go hard because they got regulars up their ass, stuff like that. But I also think they're just not in that mindset like they used to be, the old Microsoft, right?
Yeah.
I don't even think they really generally even move like that. Genuinely, do they think like that? Of course, we've seen the emails with what's his name, Matt Booty, right? Like they got the mindset though. Doesn't mean they're gonna do it, but they are aware at all times that these are options.
Straight up
that they
gangsta,
can
man.
take,
Just
right?
slit some throats.
Right. But they never badmouth Bungie. Maybe the Emperor was never really wearing any clothes, and Bungie really ain't all that.
Yeah.
Because the only thing they ever did for Microsoft was make a bunch of Halo games, right? And of course, Xbox owes its existence to the first Halo, specifically, definitely the second one, and maybe even the third one. So the first three, you could at least say, for the first two Xboxes, that was a big deal, right? And I'm not trying to downplay that at all. But what I am saying is, they're not this uber AAA ultimate developer of all time ever. It might be Microsoft always
No,
knew
but
that.
they are sick. They are, but they priced themselves out. Remember, the rumor was Microsoft, and if you remember the emails, Microsoft was looking at them. Everybody was like, the rumor was Microsoft was about to buy Bungie, right? But the asking price was too high.
But
right?
see, that's also the other thing. You're talking about money, and I don't think you're wrong at all. I think you are right. But at the same time, though, besides them being greedy, look at Destiny. Even the first Destiny. The first Destiny, it sold a lot of copies, but dudes weren't really effing with it. It took a lot of work, right? And it even
I'm gonna blame Activision.
But
I blame Activision because they tried to create another machine like Call of Duty.
But in hindsight, too, I think it's also Bungie. It's also Bungie. And I'm not saying
Bungie wants to be independent, right? Bungie wants to be independent, but they don't have the money. There was so many hands in their pockets before Sony came along to buy them. That's another thing. That's another thing that made the asking price what it was, right? Tencent and man, I want to say Billy. There were a bunch of foreign companies that owned that bought into Bungie, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at Sony coming in. Sony's desperate. Sony wants to get into the service game space, but they don't have the developers to do it. So now they're challenging their developers in the middle of a crucial point. Microsoft is rising, right? Microsoft is coming from the ashes, and then now you want to reverse course and move away from the movie games and go into this service. Come on, Jimmy, you're crazy. But Jimmy had the right idea, and he was using what he had to do what he wanted to do, what he felt he needed to do.
Right.
So now we need to figure out. We need to see what the pivot is. But Bungie was never this be all end all. That's why 343 came in, right?
That's what
we'll pick up right where Bungie left off and keep Halo going. Then Halo says, "Oh, we want to make Destiny," but then Bungie still can't do it independently. So what do they have to do? They have to go under Activision.
And
they bring out Destiny. Destiny has no story. You have to find the story through Grimoire cards. Nothing like it was nothing like Halo.
Yeah.
But for PlayStation fans, it was all they had. Yeah. PlayStation fans were hoping that it could be something to combat Halo. They've been waiting for a Halo killer for a decade. So that's why they latched onto it. That's why they had Hawk Moon and all these special characters. This is why PlayStation immediately invested into exclusive content, because this was their competition for Halo, because they couldn't build one themselves, right? But Bungie, but just like you said, Bungie. But you cut me off, and you keep cutting me off.
No, but you
Okay, so let me.
when I was going to say something first, like, that's what I was trying to tell you.
Look, I'm the one who brought this up because you did.
Like,
hey,
you
wrote.
keep cutting me off,
I let you ride it because you were on the road. But no, you're right. Bungie is not all that, and so I think Sony has put too much on their plate. They took the money, right? The leadership took the money and said, "Fine, we'll do it. We'll teach your guys to make service games. We'll oversee your live service projects, but at what cost?" Because Bungie, because Destiny 2 has been on the decline, and now when you see it, they're missing projections by 45% and laying off. And the worst part of that layoff is that one of the big headlines when PlayStation or Sony bought Bungie is that they had we didn't overpay, because 1.2 million of that was for the retention of talent. And what are they doing now? Letting go of talent. So a lot of what they say, the math ain't mathing with this transaction. I'm done with that one.
And that's the point I'm making. Like, Bungie was never really all of that to begin with, because before Halo, all they were really known for was Marathon, which was just a Doom clone. On the Mac, they had Marathon, not Doom. They had Marathon. Eventually, it did come to the Mac, of course, because it went to everything. But what they had, not Doom, Marathon, right? And then they had that other game where it was the female with the anime look, some action game that came out before Halo. I forget, it was on PC, and I think it came to console eventually. And then there was the Halo game. But as soon as they left, under the wing of Microsoft, Bungie has never been the same. Destiny didn't blow up as high as you explained. They didn't blow up as to all that. Like, in fact, the first one wasn't really as successful. And it was financially, but in terms of retention and the fan base and all of that, and the Grimoire cards and all that, it didn't really blow. And then it kind of ended. And then Destiny 2. And don't forget, the first one was supposed to last 10 years. And yes, Activision, all these outside things have to do with that. And you're right. See, it's frustrating, not because you're wrong, because you're not. You keep saying all these other things, but like, it's distracting from the overall point I'm trying to make, is that if you put all those things aside, all the outside bad elements with Activision and this and that, Bungie was still making bad decisions that still would have had them in the same position anyway, even if Activision wasn't being Activision or Sony is being Sony now. They still would have been in this bad situation because of what Bungie was doing. What's up, Sega, man? I didn't notice you were here this whole time. And so I think, like, when I look at this situation with Bungie, it's just like, they were only ever any good to me for Halo. And when they left, the Halo people stayed behind and started 343. And people love to talk about 343 versus Bungie. Okay?
Oh, yeah,
it's just
they
like
do it all the time.
Talk about Michael Jackson versus Prince. Remember what Chris Rock said about that? Prince won, and I was looking like 3-4-3-1. That was what I was trying to say all along.
Well, yeah, it'd be interesting to see what Sony does, because now you're depending on a risk-averse company to help fund your projects.
That's not
right, because if Sony has proven that they're very risk-averse. They're not going out there to take chances and make experimental games. They're sticking to a formula. They're going to stick to what they think works. And Bungie, see, when you make live service games, when you make live service games, you have to experiment to an extent. Yes. And another thing with these games, I think that a lot of people have grown tired of these gameplay loops. Like, it's only a matter of time before Battle Royale is dead.
Yes.
So when you start having to be creative with a game like Destiny, right? You have Crucible, you have these different modes. You have to add different things. Now they have super duper powers, right? At first, everybody just had a super. Now you have 3.
Oh, really?
And they have to keep trying to find ways to keep. Yeah, you didn't know that?
I haven't played Destiny in a long time.
At first, yeah, because like the Hunter was Arc, the Titan was Arc.
They changed the names
you had Arc, Arc and
one
Solar.
ability you have to build up, throughout the match, but I know that.
I never.
Everybody had but everybody had 2 supers, right? But not everybody had 2 different elements they could use. Because like the Hunter, the golden gun was solar, but the arc blade obviously was arc. Then you had the ward, and then you had the ground pound by the Titan. The both of the you had the Nova bomb. Both of the warlocks abilities were void. So now you got what is it? The Titan throwing hammers, and the Hunter has a bow and arrow. You got all kinds of different things. They have to figure out ways to be They have to figure out ways to be creative, and keep people engaged in somehow, some way. And I don't think that gameplay loop lends itself to a 10-year project, right? They always talk about 10 years, but I hope that this live service bubble bursts and we go back to making good, fun games and not trying to milk people. Like, movies don't get to do it, right? And people like comparing games to movies. Movies don't do it. Movies, you put a movie out and it does what it does, and then you go to DVD. But when it comes to games, they found out ways to milk people. And I think, like, even Fortnite's feeling the pinch, right? Even Epic is feeling the pinch when it comes to that. They're gonna have to find new ways to be creative. And at the end of the day, I was more in favor of Sony trying to pivot towards multiplayer more than service. They need multiplayer games, like that'll keep their players off of Twitter, because if they can only finish these exclusives in a weekend, all they have left is Twitter after that. Like, people are still playing Halo. Season 5 comes back, and you got Xbox people talking about Halo again.
Yeah.
PlayStation doesn't have that.
Yep.
And that's why I hope that they can bring the multiplayer back. They should never have given up on Killzone. SOCOM, they can't use that name, but they could call it something else. Warhawk, all these games they should never have given up on, because those are the types of games that keep people engaged. But those are the games that keep people engaged in your platform.
Mag and Warhawk were good.
But those are decisions
Mag is another one.
Over a decade ago, right? When everybody who was a gamer was calling it out, but they said to us that we didn't know what we were talking about. Everything you're saying in the past, like, minute and a half now, has been stuff people were saying 15 years ago, but everybody said that.
But they saw that they were in a winning position.
Listen, man, all industries, right? Of every industry I've ever, focused on, this is the one industry where, and I understand how, everybody loves to use that example of what Steve Jobs said, is that people don't know what they want. Man, stop quoting Steve Jobs for everything in every situation. Not every successful thing in one corner works in a different corner, even if they're very similar, right? But in this industry, and I used to always want to use CD Projekt Red for this example, but then Cyberpunk happened and that killed that example. But even now, I think it actually it proves the point even more, right? When you listen to the audience and you give them what they want, you make bank. Don't make bank. You talked about the Nouveau earlier, right? That's a death knell for your game on PC. Once the PC heads hear that your game has the Nouveau, or you put it on Epic with the Nouveau and everybody thought it was going to be on Steam, and you don't announce it until the last moment, bro, you get a lot of crap for that until they push you to take it off, and then you make it into the game it should have been. And there's many examples of that on the console side, right? And the only thing that happened with Cyberpunk, it wasn't the developers, it was the money men that they answered to who got all greedy and effed up the situation that they've been working on for years, right? This game that could have blew up, back when it released, instead of blowing up later after that, to put in a bunch of effort and stuff, right? But it just goes to show, like, the people up top seem not to understand, and the few times where you have people up top who do well, it's people who understand, like we understand, because they're gamers too. And I think that applies to every industry. Like, the people up top, eventually, you have people up top who shouldn't be up top. They don't care about the industry they're in. They're just money men and women, right? And once you have that, that's the end of your business. That becomes the beginning of the end of your business, because then you're not in the business that you first got into. That was rising. You get to a point where all of a sudden it becomes something else. And the people who are making the decisions aren't people who care about the things the same way that the consumers will. All they care about is money, and they'll do whatever to make money, even though the same people that they plan to sell this who all would have told them, no, that's not going to work, and no, I'm not going to buy that. Don't do that. But they don't listen to us. They love to listen to this quote by Steve Jobs, or that the customer never knows what they want, or whatever it was, because I can't remember exactly. But like the customer doesn't know what they want.
But sick.
Gamers.
That's why analytics exists, though. But see, that's why analytics exist. Like we can. Yes, they do, because we complain, right? But if they see that the majority of people don't care, then they're gonna go with that.
Oh, well, you see how that works out for them when they keep doing that shit. Because every time they do some dumb shit like that, that's what happens. Look at EA, right? How many developers are gone? I gave that example earlier when I said Microsoft and EA, where they bought developers for whatever game engine, whatever they bought them for, right? They integrated them so tightly, or at least with the case of EA, at least they kept them, intact under a name, right? So in case they wanted to kill them off later, they could do it without hurting EA. But they lost sight of what they got them for in the first place, and to force them into other shit, or into making too much of the thing that they bought them for in the first place, to a point where they can't handle it, and now they have all these high expectation that would have never have panned out if they were being objective at it, or if they just list, because they're doing all this analytics, but they still don't know the things that they're doing or they're trying to sell would have never sold. But if they asked the gamer on the street, they would have known day one. But they want to bring up to us the dumb times when they listened to us when they shouldn't have been. When real gamers would have also had said, don't listen to that, that makes no sense, right? But they do it anyway. And then you have examples like Cyberpunk and countless other examples. And there are countless other developers that don't exist anymore. Games that could have been very successful or weren't, because they did a bunch of stupid things they should have never done that everybody would have known, from day one would have been a bad idea. But it's just the industry we're in.
See, we didn't know Cyberpunk was going to come out like that. We just know now that they should have abandoned last gen hardware. But
no,
well, unless you mean that we would have told them, hey, leave behind last gen hardware. But you realize how much money they left on the table. They're not making 13 million unit sale announcements one month, one or 2 months after they release the game, if they don't do it on last gen hardware.
I'm not even talking about last gen hardware. You're bringing up that. It's the fact that they released the game before it was ready. That was freaking stupid. It doesn't matter what platform they had it on. It wasn't.
But it was ready.
No, okay.
Yes, it was. Okay. It just didn't perform. It didn't perform well on last gen. Okay, did you play it? You played it on PC or console? What'd you play it on?
I played it on the Series X. It still had bugs there too.
Okay.
But the bugs are.
Oh, bugs are gonna happen with open, but bugs are gonna happen, right? That's just like saying Starfield was not ready or Spider-Man was not ready. How long are you gonna hold it in the oven for 1 or 2 different bugs? As long as they don't break the game. Nobody had game-breaking bugs on last gen. Come on, man, let me finish what I'm saying. You didn't have game-breaking bugs on Cyberpunk on current gen hardware or PC, and especially not Stadia.
Yes, you did.
Game-breaking.
Yes. A lot of people. I didn't experience that, but other people
I had some bugs, but they weren't game breaking.
PC and Series X.
I'm sure some random fella did. But I'm talking about I'm not talking about outliers. I'm talking about the majority of people who bought the game and played it on current gen hardware and on a capable PC. They didn't have game breaking issues.
Okay, the problem I'm having, what you're saying is now you just use a word like outlier. So now okay, so now what I'm saying has been labeled as an outlier. Oh, it's just because they supported last gen. That's not. No, dude. The game wasn't ready. It had lots of bugs, and the developers knew it. And they've already said that's what this was. But the higher ups were like, no, put it out because we already delayed it once. We're trying to get this money. This is the time slot or whatever in the year when we want to release it, and that's when they release it.
I just don't remember seeing.
And this is not a new thing in.
But games. I just don't remember seeing a lot of people.
A lot of people. And
guys, we can continue on this next week if we can, man. It's already gonna hit the 3-hour mark. I've been holding my piss for 3 hours, and I'm still waiting for my work to contact me about the servers. Luckily, they're still working on it, and I don't have to check on it yet. Hopefully, they'll give up on it because I really don't want to check servers tonight. Not at this hour. It's awful.
You want to give up?
Huh?
Hey, well, shout out to anybody who's still listening, man. It was fun.
Man. And we even get to this Xbox games for 2024.
I looked at.
Shit, we got Flight Simulator 2024.
Oh yeah, we can definitely talk about that. We can definitely talk about that next week because we're for
Avowed,
6 weeks away from 2024.
Hellblade, Clockwork Revolution is the one I'm looking forward to, man. That one and South of Midnight. Those are the two big ones I'm looking forward to.
Flight Simulator. That's pretty much.
Avowed, South of Midnight, Fable, and Clockwork. Why do you think that? They've been developing that for a minute. Outer Worlds 2 is another one I want too.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure they said so on both of those.
Now South of Midnight, it might be far away, but I don't think Avowed is.
Avowed, I would.
I want to see Avowed this year.
I could have sworn they said that, but hopefully we see that E3 or whatever. We see some improvement or something more recent. But I could have sworn they said for that, for South of Midnight, and what was the other game you said? I forget the name, but I think all of those were already said. It's gonna be a while before they come out anyway.
Clockwork.
Yeah, Clockwork.
Clockwork looks amazing.
Well, no, look, sick. Like, at what point does Phil go back to where he said that they're not going to show games that are way out, right?
Right.
Like, because you gotta remember, man, they've been showing Fable for years. They've been talking about Avowed for years. They've been talking about now Clockwork Revolution is something new.
Yeah, it's new.
Wait.
Clockwork Revolution.
They announced that this year.
Wait, hold on. They talk about Avowed. When did they talk about Avowed? We ain't seen nothing new for Avowed since.
Hold on. You don't remember? Yeah, but that was years ago when they showed the guy with his magic hand.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying. That's all we've seen. So it should.
Yeah, but that means that the game has been in the works for that long. That's what I'm saying. It should be close. Now, Clockwork, South of Midnight, that's different.
But slow down. Like, yeah, they said. No, I mean, logic would assume that they've been talking about it for years and showed off the thing with the hand years ago. Then it should be soon. But they came out and said no, it's going to be a while still. So I'm just going off of what they said, right? Because
they said what's going to be a while.
Avowed, because because people love to say they said this, they said that. Who said when? Show me a link, right? And then they can't because they just remember off the top of their head, and then come to find out this is just the talk that everybody's been hearing from other people, and it was never a thing. Like, last I saw of Avowed, they said that's not gonna be out for a while.
Oh man, I
for
know
a couple of years. It's the same with Elder Scrolls. They just said they're just gonna, the Starfield people, is off of that, and now they're going on to Elder Scrolls. So that's gonna be years from now, right? And then, I know you're trying to leave, but
it's in pre-production. We knew Elder. They shouldn't have showed Elder Scrolls there soon, but that was when they were still independent entities.
Yeah, and it's the same with Avowed, right?
We still waiting for Indiana Jones.
Way too early. Yeah, way too early. A lot of that stuff ain't coming for a while, but there are other things that's coming in more recent time, right? Like Clockwork. Of the 3 games you mentioned, I'm sure that will be out first, right? And there's lots of other games that we know is, next year and whatnot. But there are a couple of these games that's, on people's lips and talking about all the time. Pause.
Yeah.
That aren't coming out for a couple of years yet, and still. And this was known, but people are talking about them like, oh, it's been time now, and now they're gonna come. But nobody ever said that officially. So that's all.
I'll be happy.
Yeah,
with
but
Clockwork.
anyway, man.
I'll be happy with Clockwork.
Well,
no, but I'm just looking at the time from when they first announced these games to now, right? So like they showed Avowed years ago. They showed Fable years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So logic would dictate we should see something new from them, or a release date is imminent, or something.
Hey, every time I start talking, the dude comes on the announcement on the loudspeaker. I'm in the store, but like but no, like Avowed, they showed that a long time now. If they did give us an update on Outer Worlds 2, I still wouldn't say that was close, But like Hellblade, everybody's expecting that next year because they showed that way
that'll be
back in
close.
2019.
Right, but yet and still they
And then
say that
Fable,
it's
and
coming out.
then Fable, but then when you hear about Fable, they're still hiring writers
Yeah.
and people from what's the game of the year called? Baldur's Gate. They're bringing in people from Baldur's Gate, so that game is still in progress. But Obsidian does their own work. So look. I don't think it's gonna hit next year. If it does, I'm not gonna be surprised.
It
But I
better.
expect it in 25. I expect these games that we know about. We've seen some type of gameplay that's gonna be in the next 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, there's
It's
my
just that
job.
I think a lot of people think of doing stuff next year or whatever, or the next 6 months, and that's not really realistic. But I don't think people have
No, thank you.
any knowledge
All right.
or even any realistic expectations. So people need to get educated before they start running their mouths a bit more.
All
That's
right,
what I
guys.
think.
I need to shut it down because they just pinged me at work.
All right, y'all. Yeah, man, this dude trying to sell me some gift cards and
I
stuff.
know, man. tell
Man,
them
go to work, man.
Tell them the
Hey,
word about Game Pass, man.
shout out to the people still listening.
All right.
No doubt.
Yeah, shout out to the Chatterbox, man. Thank you for hanging on this long, man. 3 hours.
He can buy he can buy 20 years of Game Pass.
I think that's a new record for me. That's a long show, man. A long show.
That's a new record. We normally have half of that.
Yeah. All right. Good night, guys. I gotta get to work. I don't want to work at this hour, but that's what I gotta do. All right. Good night, guys.
All right,
everybody.
y'all.
Peace.
Good night, everybody.